Hey everyone, this episode of the Smoking Tire podcast is brought to you by Autotempest.com. You know how when you're up late at night by yourself, no one's around, nobody's looking, what are you doing? You're looking at cars online. I know, me too. That's how it goes. But what you don't want to do is have to look at 7 different places to get the same amount of information. Autotempest.com is here to make your life a lot easier. Here's how. It searches all the top car listing sites in one place. Sites like Cars.com, eBay Motors, Car Soup, Cars Direct, and many more. Plus many individual dealers and private sellers. You can then compare those results from AutoTrader and all of Craigslist. Not just a couple hundred miles around your city either. The national Craigslist database. So you can find the exact car you want for the best price without wasting a ton of your time browsing around all those different sites. I have used Autotempest.com to price shop a bunch of different stuff, and it consistently gives me a nice big spread of what's happening across the market in one place. It's really, really nice. Autotempest.com. Go check it out. This episode of the Smoking Tire podcast is also sponsored by Hagerty. Hagerty Insurance. That's true. We have a little deal with Hagerty going on right now, and it's a fun game at the end of the show where we discuss collector car values and what's happening in the marketplace. But go to Hagerty.com right now to find out more about Hagerty Insurance or read some of their articles, or Hagerty.com/newsletter, and you can suggest topics for our Hagerty conversation at the end of the show. We've also got Beeline Coffee. Code TST gets you 15% off at Beeline Coffee. Dylan Optics sunglasses, my favorite sunglasses. Just use the smokingtire.com. Under the Partners tab, click on that Dylan banner. I'll give you a free t-shirt for supporting the people who support us. On this episode of the Smoking Tire podcast, we got 2 old friends in the building. Bendan McAleer, who is actually writing for Hagerty now. He's got all of his articles are up at BrendanMcAleer.com, but you can check him out at Hagerty.com as well. And our friend Brad Brownell of RADWOOD, and he also writes for Jalopnik, and he drove up in a terrible Porsche 912 that shoots fire for all the wrong reasons. But this is a good show. Enjoy it. It's the Smoking Tire podcast. Smoking Tire podcast. That's when you just drop cell phone bomb right into the
fresh cell phone.
Fresh Stormtrooper cell phone. What's happening? Smoking Tire podcast afternoon edition. Brendan McAleer.
How you doing?
Oh Canada.
Oh Canada.
Welcome.
Yes. Good day.
I hope you've been holding like a bunch of awesome shit in, because you've been sitting there like not for like 5 minutes like not talking, which is good.
Oh, they think
the pre-show self-control.
What's the Simpsons episode where he's like, they think I'm slow because I'm from Canada. Just the quiet Canadian. But
welcome.
We'll warm it up.
Fresh off the plane.
Fresh off the plane.
I like booking people. That's the good thing about the studio being close to LAX. You're just like, oh, when do you land? Yeah, just straight here. Straight here. And apparently this bridge side cut Northeast IPA went in the check bags.
Went in the check bags, yeah. We had to pray.
I
pray to make it.
I saw
no bottles.
Like a Twitter thread earlier today that was like, Brendan's bringing beer on the airplane, and I was like, what?
It's got French on it too.
That is Brad Brownell. What's happening?
It's happening.
From Jalopnik. The cell phone bombing was you dive bombing into Brendan's podcast today.
Yeah, it sure
like
was.
A boss.
I sent him a message last night. I was like, "Hey, would you be pissed if I hopped on?" And he's like, "Nah," because he's nice and Canadian like that.
Yeah, he's just too polite to be like, "Fuck, that was my show." We're doing this one live, youtube.com/thesmokingtire/live2. If you're not actually listening to it live, hopefully next time you realize. We shout it out early in the day and then multiple times before we start going live on our social medias. So if you want to interact with us on the super chat, whatever we're talking about, if you want to dive into that YouTube super chat and dive bomb right in, like my Stormtrooper cell phone, ask us questions about shit we're talking about on the show, feel free to do that. What's happening, boys? Brandon, what brings you to town?
I think we're both here for Luft.
Oh my God.
Indeed.
If we were to jalopnikize the title of this podcast, it would be, is Luftgekühlt the new Pebble Beach?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I'd go that far. I think
That's why it's a perfect title, because the answer is always no.
no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Zach,
Betteridge's law of headlines.
Zach hidden behind. Oh, you don't have a camera today, Zach, do you?
No, I don't, but it's okay.
Oh, you don't have a camera. All right, so
He doesn't like his hair today, so he doesn't
Timmy had a panic situation at his day job, so Zach has to do board duties today.
I'm the only one who sounds like an 11-year-old. It's fine.
We respect the hustle. Luftgekühlt is Sunday.
It is.
Fucking Pat Long and Howie have really done a number on this event, haven't they?
I missed 4, but 3 was bomb. So I'm excited to see 5.
Which
4 was last year.
Which was the one where it rained?
Last year.
That was that
4.
Yeah, okay. The photography from that one came out. Fucking Drew got super lucky. All his pictures have like a glisten on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky bastard. This year it's in Torrance.
Mm-hmm.
It's
at a lumber yard.
Yeah, did you get the emails? They were sending the emails about the story of the lumber yard.
Yeah.
Do you want to give the people the story of the lumber yard?
It's like some people from Germany that came over and they.
Oh, come on, you can do better. Do I have to go through my email on the show?
Of course, everybody knows that Porsche was first building cars in a lumber facility.
Yes, in Gmünd.
Yeah, in Gmünd. With a dirt floor.
Do you pronounce it with a T?
I think
is
so.
It Gmünd?
Gmünd.
Can anyone
German is
confirm?
always like harsh like that. So
that's probably true. I had this email that actually told the story. Yeah, it's a connection of lumber yards.
Yeah.
That's really it.
But the people that own this lumber yard in Torrance are from Germany.
Oh,
and they had a lumber yard in Germany, and now they moved here, and it's a thing. It was a PR email. I didn't read it.
All you do is scroll down and look for the unsubscribe button.
Exactly.
And when there isn't one, you reply in all caps, unsubscribe.
You look for the sign up as media and get in for free.
Right. Well, here's how you know when an event is becoming like a real big thing is when there's like multiple pre-parties.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like-
Well, and then when you can almost sell out without announcing the venue, then maybe
Yeah.
that's okay.
yeah. What is the definition of sell out for them? No, I don't mean it. That's not what I meant. I don't mean like.
Well, they ran out
do
of
they
space.
mean that they don't have morals or? Yeah. No,
they-
how many cars I meant or people or
Well,
whatever.
You can't get in as a spectator.
Yeah. They sold out
Wait, I'm
spectator
sorry.
tickets. Yeah.
If I don't have a ticket, I can't go.
I'm sure you can.
But you can go because at media.
I could probably just go.
Yeah.
But
The only thing
other people can't go.
The only thing I'm afraid of is there are people that are flying in that don't have tickets.
Well, the guy from
Are there going to be Luftgekühlt scalpers?
Probably.
Bro,
yeah.
there are? If there are,
Yeah,
can
I'm
you do a
one of them.
Jalopnik deep dive profile? Where's Patrick George?
Yeah,
Patrick,
yeah.
come out here and start interviewing.
He's texting me already. He's listening to you and already texting me, hey.
if you're going to scalp tickets for a Luftgekühlt, you have to wear a Bring a Trailer shirt.
Oh my God. How funny would that be? Speaking of listening and texting right now, go fuck yourself, John Klein. Just
What did he say?
He says to tell you you're a jackass.
Oh, well, that's true.
So
I mean,
I'm
he's
so-
a piece of shit.
So we're just yeah, see? Although now he's a piece of shit with a job. Congrats, John. I heard you got a job.
He got a job?
I think he got a job at TopGear.com.
Oh, he's
yeah.
he's freelancing with them.
Oh, is
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
either way,
Not a
that-
it's a gig, not a.
Oh, it's a gig, not a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Cold as
no,
ice,
I mean,
Brad. Cold as ice.
Cold as ice.
I mean, all the love in the world to Jonathan. He's a great guy, and
Go
he
fuck
helped.
yourself.
He helped me pull an engine on Monday. So
Did he really?
yeah.
Oh, that's a friend.
And I got it running today.
My phone just buzzed again. I ain't looking. No. You
probably
want to
called
talk
me
to
out
me on
again.
this show, John Klein? Get in that super chat, bro. Let's see what you got.
Brad, is the engine running or did it just get turned on? Is that the gig version of rebuilding
I
an engine?
drove it 1 mile.
Would you say it got turned?
I think that's a gig. It
I
ran
drove
1 mile.
I drove it 1 mile,
Yeah.
and the fuel injection system clogged with old shit. And
Zach, that line was extremely overlooked, but it was
Yeah,
brilliant.
no,
when
it
you
was
said
good.
that was a gig, that's a fucking good line. Write that down for later.
for people who don't know, Manuel Carrillo, who was on last week, his car is now running. I got it. I came down here.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is that you did it in a week.
Mm-hmm. 4 days.
Wow.
We had the engine out on Monday. I did the valve seals
crazy.
Tuesday and Wednesday and put it back in last night and ran it today.
Have you ever done an engine in 4 days, Brendan?
4, no.
That's awesome.
No, but he's a better writer than I am, so he wins.
Does it run good?
No. So it sat for 15 years.
Yeah.
So there was sludge in the bottom of the fuel tank, and we fixed that months ago. And I think some of it got in the fuel distributor because it's a CIS car. So it'll run great when you're at full throttle.
Uh-huh.
But anything off full throttle, it starts to fill the cylinders with fuel. So I think it's pumping fuel in when
it's not supposed to.
to. So it's flooding the cylinder basically, and it's causing the spark plugs to foul.
Oh yeah, didn't you say it was eating spark plugs like every 5 minutes or something?
No, you just have to let them dry out.
Oh, okay.
The fuel will evaporate. You're just sitting on the side of the road for 10 minutes, and then, yeah.
How long does it take for it to die? A mile?
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys, aren't these old cars like awesome?
They are awesome when they're running great. I drove my 76 today, and I drove it all the way from Reno.
To here, it's parked
Yeah,
outside.
it's parked outside.
It is.
It's a 912E.
Yeah.
And it's awful.
Is
and
an
Matt
E
would hate it.
the slowest 912?
Yes. The E is the slowest Porsche ever.
Actually, the slowest
Actually,
Porsche
the
ever.
slowest
Is it
Porsche.
slower than the slowest 914?
Yeah.
It is.
Same engine.
Same engine.
Yeah. There's probably some early 356s that are slower because those had like 50 horsepower.
Yeah, I drove a 356A that was extremely slow.
Yeah. Mine has 88 to the crank. Mm-hmm. So it's got like 60 to the wheel.
And it has how many gears? 4?
5.
Or 5. Okay.
But I live at 4,500 feet. So it probably has like 40 horsepower.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah. I would love to put your car on a Reno dyno.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Does anyone even bother dyno testing cars in Reno? They do?
Totally. Yeah, but they factor in
Yeah.
altitude.
Yeah.
So.
What else is going to be it? Is there a hook at Luft this year?
I don't know.
Allegedly.
I didn't see anything.
No, it's just
I talked to
I know something.
Bruce
And-
Canepa.
put that mic closer to your face.
Sorry, I talked to Bruce Canepa about
That's that
something else, and he listed off a whole bunch of stuff. There's like a early 60s 911R prototype, 917, 934 and a half.
What is a 934 and a half?
It's-
Zach, can you figure out what a Porsche 934 and a half is?
It's a 934 with 935 parts.
Oh, well, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And there'll be he's bringing one of his 959S builds. This one's blue on red, which I think should look awesome.
Well,
And then
look at that
something else.
934 and a half. Oh, so it's like a narrow-bodied car that they stuck a wider rear fender on and not a
And
big...
the big wing.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So did he tell you about
Can you kick that over, Zach?
The
to
959?
To the show? That's fucking sexy as hell. Look at that thing. Boom.
Boom.
Fucking nice.
Apple livery?
Is that Apple?
No, that's the what is that? B&B like fiberglass.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you recognizing what that is.
I'm the
Did it
Porsche.
say B&B anywhere? Or do you just
No, that's just their
That looks
stripe
like
package.
Harvey Milk for congressman.
Okay. This is since you got a Canadian content guy here. Pull up Walter Wolf Kramer K3.
Oh, my God.
Oh, well, there you go.
Do you know this thing?
I know who Walter Wolf is.
All right,
And I know what a Kramer 935 is.
So Walter,
Yeah, the road car.
I know Walter a little bit. I see him every couple months.
There.
This
Oh,
is
you
a
wrote this.
street car.
Who was on the show talking about this car? Was it you last time you were here? No.
No. I've been here for a couple of years. I was here with Spin
Who
and
was talk? I forgot who was talking about this car on the show, but that's his 935 street car, right? Basically.
So this replaced the third Countach prototype, which he had. This thing went 338 kilometers an hour on the Autobahn in 1980.
That's like
So here's
that's
the
like 85 miles an hour.
here's
right?
the
385?
204.
Wow.
I don't know.
In 1980?
That's the car it replaced. Yeah, that's the car it replaced.
He had the special Countach that he
Yeah, those are all pretty cool. The coolest thing about those is that so when it was the LP400, he wanted more tire on it, and he actually he called Pirelli and said, I want you to make me a 335 series tire. And because they were supplying all the race car, he owned a Formula One team at the time, so they made him. So he basically called Pirelli and said, "Make me a tire," and they made him a tire. And then that car was that was the red one that was underpowered. The last one has, it's in Japan. It has 500 horsepower, 7-to-1 steering, Formula One. They changed the rear suspension.
It's painted like a purple, right?
It's a dark blue, super dark blue. It does look kind of purplish in some light, but it's like a midnight.
I remember being in some magazine. I thought it was like almost eggplanty, but yeah, right?
Yeah, it's. I mean, they're cool. Those things are cool.
Oh, Zach. Wah, wah.
But I mean, like that one was for sale in Germany. The K3.
Mm-hmm. The blue Porsche was.
Yeah, but this is the coolest thing about that car is it. Canadian listeners, that car was in the south of France with Alberta plates on it. It still has the original front tires on it. The rear tires have been replaced because when he drove it between, south of France and Cologne, it would actually burn them off by the time he got there, and he would have a plane fly him a new set of tires, the rain tires, shaved rain tires, and then fly him back, or then he'd drive back. When you
rich
fly
people
into your
best. They're the best. It's like that fucking Hammond bit from the first season of Grand Tour where you had the tire truck follow him around.
Yeah.
It's just the greatest idea to do that. Just fly your own spares wherever you need to go.
I mean, yeah, that's
so pimp.
Yeah.
So pimp. And what did it sell for? Do you know?
It did not sell. It's for sale. I think it's in.
What do you think they want for that?
Oh, big money. Yeah. Well, but the thing is, the thing that sucks is that it got bought by an Italian driver of some kind that I don't remember his name, but he would be like involved in racing in some level, but he bought it and never drove it. Whereas Walter's deal was always like, well, I just want to buy something and drive it and sell it. Buy it, drive it, sell it.
Yeah. He just treats it like a car, not like a
This was replaced
collector's
by
item.
a street-plated M1 Pro car. So
that's extremely bad.
I mean, he's just
Do you know what replaced the M1 Pro car?
I don't.
I'm thinking like a Koenig Testarossa twin turbo, or something like that.
I think that 288 GTO showed up about that time because he did a 288 GTO and then an F40 and F40 LM and stuff like that.
Is it your duty as a Canadian to know about Walter Wolf? Was he Canadian or was he German?
He's Austrian but naturalized Canadian. I read a story about him when he was wanted by Interpol, and I was like. And then I looked. I just was reading something and said something blah 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 Lamborghini. I'm like, oh okay. So I looked it up and I'm like, oh, these are like the reason the Countach has a wing is because of this guy. And then further, all his cars have Canadian flags on them. And if you go to Japan and you purchase a Tomica Countach like a Hot Wheel, their version of Hot Wheels has little Canadian flags on it.
Really?
And they do not explain that anywhere. But little Japanese kids are playing with like.
It's like someone somewhere may decided his Countach was.
Well, they all sold to Japan because it was economic bubble, so they just sold into Japan, all of them. One of them ended up in Switzerland, but they just happened to come to Japan, and apparently there was this Japanese culture thing where they would do supercar shows and just have people come to them in the 80s and 90s. Having talked to the guy who now owns the third car, he's like, yeah, when I was in elementary school, like we would go to these things where there would be all these cars, and I remember seeing that thing, and then eventually he, had his collection is insane. Our mutual acquaintance, Mr. Morroy.
Oh yeah, is that who has it?
No, his friend stores a bunch of cars there. So Takeshi's collection is like. One section of the warehouse, there's that guy who runs the Mille Miglia with all his little Fiats, and then there's this big section.
So we're in Japan, and this really nice guy, Mr. Moroi, has a medical sales device company or something.
No,
what does he make?
He makes the machines that make iPads.
Oh, is that what it is?
He has the in his basement, like his whole factory. I don't know if he took you through a factory tour.
We saw like the main level quickly, but we didn't have a lot of time, and it was 1,000
right.
degrees
I remember that.
in there. It was like 140 degrees inside that place.
He has a CNC machine that's so big. He the guy who crashed the 757B at Goodwood, they CNC'd a whole body for it. That car came back to life because he just was like, "Oh, I built one."
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So he had a warehouse that was, I don't know, 50,000 square feet, 60,000 square feet, huge,
Full of cars.
full of cars. And this was a guy who street drives the 962.
Oh, that
and
guy.
street drives the GT40 Mark II, 3.
It's like half an. It has
It's an in-betweener.
It has a Sebring front end and a Le Mans rear, or
Whatever
the
it is,
reverse.
it's real though. It's not like a bullshit. And then he's got DTM cars he drives. I mean, he's got.
Zach, I have
it's
photos
gangster.
of all this on. If you go to when I used to write for The Drive, go to The Drive, and then just look up me.
Boy, that kind of fell
McAleer.
apart, didn't it?
Dude, this guy's collection was crazy.
There's Walter. Well, click on that one. That's just I drove a Huracan up to see Walter. And then just click on my name. It'll be far down.
Yeah.
The Jolly. Oh my God, that Jolly.
You drove a Fiat Jolly?
It's
Jollies
a
are
Fiat
cool.
600 Jolly, so it has a little bit of power. It's like 50 horsepower, probably.
For those who don't know what a Jolly is, it has wicker seats, and that's all you need to fucking know.
So we drive it. I drive it over the Lionsgate Bridge, and there's guys in like GLs coming over to take a closer look, and then you just keep going down, Zach. It'll show up.
Am I looking for Walter?
No, just keep scrolling down. It's like it says something like most interesting man in the world or something. They came up with something.
Something is up with
Hey,
that
my
page.
But anyway, I drive it over. It's terrifying, right? Like huge looming things. You have no protection, no seatbelts, no nothing. And then we park it, and the woman who owns it is like, "Yeah, and it's also got a cracked frame."
Oh, that's not something
bad.
you tell me now. Oh my God, all the things.
More.
And this guy, Mr. Maroy, in his garage, I think there were 4 Toyota 2000 GTs.
When I was there were 13 of them.
I guess I was in a
And
lull.
actually, his car will be at the Peterson. He has the Bond 2000 GT convertible.
Oh yeah, that
The
I just saw that
promotions.
car at the Toyota Museum.
Yeah, so
like
there's,
a year
there's
ago.
2. I believe Toyota owns the production car, like the movie production car, the hero car, and then there was a promotions car. So he has the promotions car. And that's freshly restored and coming to the Peterson.
He's
they're
like a
doing,
super 2000 GT enthusiast.
Yeah. Oh, geez,
You are making Zach look way too fucking
Okay,
far for
that's
that
way too
article.
deep.
I'm
Yeah, never
pulling
mind.
the ripcord on that one.
Deep cut, 4 pages deep.
You can attempt the search function, but I forbid you from any more scrolling.
The coolest thing he's doing now is he's doing Singer style 308. So there was 308s there when you were there, right? Like he's a real.
There was
The
a
Group 4?
308 there,
Group 4
Group
car?
4, yes.
So he's building
he
those.
had 308 race cars, awesome.
From scratch. Like they're not real. They're like, but they take he has like he builds the body out of mild steel.
CNC's the
and-
fucking bodies.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Dude, did you see, speaking of Singer style, did you see what Lee built? Did you see Lee Keen's Instagram today?
Oh, did he finally finish his back date?
Yeah. Did you pull up? It's Lee, Lehmank. Lehman K is in his Instagram. He finished his backdate 964. That yellow thing.
Oh.
Bro. Pull that picture over, Zach.
So it's
that
like RSR
is
style.
fucking hot, homie. It's got a 4-liter in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's
The
There's
race car in the back?
No, I've seen his 993 race. He's
yeah.
got like a
He got a
dope ass
lot.
collection.
They got a lot of race cars.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of photo. It's one of those. Yeah,
That
scroll
that
things.
car, so it's got really wide hips. It's got it's like almost like a 964 turbo stance with a ducktail. The gray Fuchs, it's got that Recaro sort of technical fabric
That
inside.
interior is fantastic.
That's what my interior is going to look like, but with different fabrics. Actually, It's
Well, yeah,
exactly the same.
I saw your municipal bus.
Hell yeah, bro! You like my bus,
dope.
my city bus pattern.
That looks dope.
Yeah.
Nice.
This car here. Wait, can you play that? I think you can, right? Listen to this. Oh god. Oh my god, that sounds. I just got an erection.
Yeah,
That sounds awesome.
yeah.
Wow,
Wait,
it's got like some real bass to it. Look at that. It's a titanium exhaust.
Wow.
That's amazing welding.
Wow.
on that.
That is a very good looking Porsche. Like I make fun of them a
crazy.
lot for looking the same, but like the ducktail with the hips and all this stuff.
Yeah, that's like that's the right combination of features. I bet you, I don't know how much that cost to build, but I bet you it's $250,000. Those wheels, by the way, those are 17-inch gray RSR style Fuchs. My Safari build is going to have that exact finish on a 16, and that same
Oh,
wheel.
cool.
Yeah, so it's a gray RSR style wheel, but we're doing it in the 16.
Nice.
God damn, Lee, that car's sexy as fuck, son. Sexy as fuck. What do the people think, Zach? Anything of interest? I saw something in the super chat. Is that something worth visiting?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
Was
All
it-
right.
We have to visit all of them, but not yet.
Oh, all right. Keep them on their toes, son.
So
It's not a car question. I'll just tell you that. It's
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brendan, when you were talking to Bruce Canepa,
Yeah.
did he tell you the details of this 959?
No. He called me
Because I know.
because I was doing a story on the Chisetta V16.
You didn't get to drive one, did you?
No.
Did you get to ride in one?
No. I just I called Claudio and I called a guy who wrote a story about it, and I just was doing a history of blah blah blah. So this is remote, but
I
yeah,
saw
they're-
that running on Saturday. I was at their Cars and Coffee.
I'm sorry. Saw a Chisetta running?
Yeah.
Well, Marauders is at
At
Canepa.
Yeah.
And also Claudio has the Austrian one back in his possession.
What do they sound like when they run? They sound good?
A lot like two Araccos next to each other.
Yeah, it's just such a cool car because it's just so like audacious in the face of like you can't do this.
Yeah.
And then it gets
What does that top
real
headlight do?
ugly. Real ugly.
Someone explain
like
the top headlight, please.
Because like it's just shining light on the headlight in front of it, and it doesn't really, doesn't really do anything.
but it's never seen a wind tunnel. It's never seen this, that. Like it.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's basically just Italians being Italians and just being like, it has to be more audacious to be
Can you
more
give us
outrageous.
a picture of a? Could you want to spell Chisetta? It's
Go to-
Cizeta.
Go to Radwood Official. There's a video of it running.
Absolutely. Get that plug. Oh, you have a video of it. Great.
Yeah.
Get that plug into Radwood Official Instagram. And
Down.
there.
Down.
Is that it?
Nope. Keep going right there to
on
the right.
The other way.
A Chisetta Marauder.
So did you know that there is in existence a engine cover for that says Chisetta Stallone because he was the original?
Wait, turn that down a little bit, Zach. Because he was what?
Because Sylvester Stallone was the original intended partner back when he was doing Cobra.
Sounds sort of cool. Sort of not cool, also.
Sounds half
way
broken.
out of
Sounds half
balance.
broken.
That sounds broken. Wait, that sounds like there are two engines running at the same time.
That's basically what it is.
Is there something else running in this video, or is there only one vehicle running in this
That's
video?
it. Sorry about that, Zach.
It actually sounds... You know, they always talk about, it's two engines put together. Like, I have an Aston Vanquish, which is two Mondeo V6s stuck together at the crank. But it sounds like one engine. That sounds like there's two vehicles
Yeah.
next to
It sounded
each
like one of the engines had parakeets in it, though.
I mean, it's got to be
The
such a
headlights are
nightmare.
right there.
Like such a nightmare to.
Bro, how's a valve job go on one of them fucking things?
man.
Oh, is that the headlight animation? Look at this.
It's just
I love complexity.
It's so weird.
What
I
do you
love that
think-
car.
great. Love it.
What do you think one of those would trade hands for right now?
I don't.
And an indeterminate amount of money. You'll never know. No one will ever
Can't you
tell
ask them to make you build you a new
Yeah,
one?
but he won't. He says, I was like, and it said like, in 2005 you could build one and it would cost you $680,000, and he's like, that's the old price, they're making a new price. And
That's the old.
I mean, you'd really have to really want that for no.
Of course, you have to have everything else.
Yeah.
But there's so many rich people right now that there is
Yeah.
That hypothetical, you'd have to have everything else exists now, which is crazy.
So speaking of that, the story that I'm trying to get around to here is the 959 that Canepa's bringing to Lufkin.
Oh, yeah. Because you went out in briefly in the regular 959.
I did, yeah.
At RADWOOD Sonoma.
They're unveiling at Lufkin, and I can say this, technically it's embargoed right now, but on Sunday they're unveiling it, and this will come out after that. So
yeah, exactly. Unless you're one of the 150 people watching it, right? Well, technically the ZR1 is embargoed until Monday, and yet I'm going to talk about it on the show for those who are listening. So, yeah, if you're on live right now, stick around because we'll talk about ZR1.
So they are
Canepa 959.
Canepa 959. They're building something called an SC, 959 SC.
Okay,
and it's going to be 800 horsepower ish. And they're building 50 of them, and each one will be individually specific. So each one will be a different color. The interior will be different. They'll be like spec'd up, so it's better chassis, better, wheels and tires, better everything.
Man, who is this fucking customer? Where is the?
But
they've already sold 4. So
but where does the car come from? Like, is it like
you bring them a 959?
You bring them a 959.
Yeah.
Wait, but again, I've heard that. Sam went to go there, and he said, I don't know if he drove one or not, but he said the comfort is not really. It's kind of like it's all
right.
right.
An 911 with a weird body.
Yeah, dude. You're driving 930 turbo.
Yeah,
they call those things like so scary back in the day.
They're not. But that's with modern. You put modern tires on anything.
Exactly.
Right. Well, but okay. So to say that double that for the 959 because it was even more composed.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's like 400 horsepower is not nothing, but.
No.
It's not like that. Fuck, I just got out of a 755 horsepower Corvette.
I do want to hear about that.
Jesus Christ.
Was it fast? Of course it was.
No.
Nah.
You can pull up.
I mean,
Zach, I got a lot of pictures. If you want to pull up the Google Drive, there's a whole image of stills, a whole cache of stills. But so how much does Canepa want for these crazy SC things?
If you have to ask.
It's an extra. Do you think it's $1 million on top of the 959?
I would assume. I don't know for sure, but probably close to it. I mean, they're doing to bare metal or bare carbon, and then repainting it, and starting over. So it's every single part of the car, in the same way that like a Singer does an early 911 or a backdate. They're doing a similar thing to a 959. Oh my God. And if a Singer is $500,000 at starting point.
Yeah, and the car you base it on is $65,000.
Right.
Yeah. Ooh, Jesus.
Well, it's like the Stratus. Like, I mean, what is that? A 458 Stradale you got?
Oh, that thing. Yeah, you got to do. I give him a 430 Scud, right?
430 Scud,
and then turning. That thing looks cool as hell.
It does look pretty cool.
The reissued Stratos. I like that one a lot.
I love that car. It's great.
What are our 959s? They tapped $1 million and then they.
They're over $1 million.
They're over, but are they really on the way up? Like,
not.
I thought they were kind of like steady at.
So, I think there was a 959S that sold a few years ago, and I know who owns it, but he bought it he was the first one I saw over $1 million. And since then, I have not seen one under $1 million.
Yeah, but an S is, 50 of them, 45.
Right. But I mean, comforts are over $1 million now.
Yeah, but they were climbing. They did. Hagerty did a thing when they did the F40, and they showed how F40 values kind of like dipped because there's tons of them.
Yeah, we have one big sale, and then they dump a bunch of them the next year. Yeah. And then they kind of tank and mellow out.
But there's 4 times as many F40s as there are 959s. So
sure. Well,
is Zach can find a 959 for sale on eBay? Look in the completed listings, cars and trucks. I bet you don't find one.
The one that I rode in, they were asking 1.75. So
right. So that one would probably sell for 1.5
ish. Yeah.
Well, there's an F40 on eBay for $1.5 million.
There's only a day and a half left. You got to bid now.
What is that? A 92 last year production? How many miles? Buy it now, buddy.
8,500.
8,500? Oh, that's like low miles.
The guy in
Rosso Corsa Euro spec. It's in Houston, so you bring your oil money. Tell you what, I'd rather after scoping that 959 in person at RADWOOD. a mil 5, I'm clicking fucking buy it now on this F40.
On the F40.
On the F40, bro. This shit is hot.
It's got
that
the visual.
959 looked so froggy.
Yeah.
It was so froggy.
They're a weird
Dude.
shape, right?
yeah,
they're a
they're
little bit odd.
weird.
Yeah.
They're not pretty.
And you get inside it, and it feels like a $60,000
yeah,
911.
remember I stuck my head in there and I was like, oh, this one looks like mine.
Yep.
Except
Well,
for
look,
the G on the shifter.
You just drove a 755 horsepower Corvette. that,
Yeah.
like we are approaching the end of what we can do in terms of speed. Maybe not the end, but we're sort of like pushing this boundary out.
I'll tell you where we're at the end of. We're at the end of my reaction time.
Yeah.
My reaction time can't get any faster, so you can make the car faster.
but that's a track, right? Like, so you get that on the street, and it's like, if it's so fast on the street, an F40, I've driven a Volkswagen EOS that had more horsepower than the F40 I drove.
the HPA one? I drove that
so
EOS.
great.
It was rocking.
Those guys
like
are
a
the
600
best.
horsepower all-wheel drive EOS.
It's the greatest thing ever. Their Scirocco build is the anniversary one. It's carbon fiber wide body Nürburgring Scirocco racing car, 850 horsepower.
Wow, really?
This is a coming.
God, I love Marcel. Those guys are so awesome.
He's the best. But anyway, the F40, US spec F40 is like 550 horsepower. That's the HPA one.
Yeah, that's the EOS.
500. That's actually 500 and something horsepower. So maybe not exactly the same. But the F40 was like all the time crazy.
Yeah.
And then it rained, and then it was really crazy. And it felt like, okay, I can see why people would pay this for it, because it's like it just keeps boosting way up high. Whereas the 959, I mean, the 993 twin turbo kind of delivers on the promise that car. It's like, here's
the
the early
flat
version,
torque curve.
and
Yeah.
and so you could. The F40 though was the point where like, oh, we can't do that anymore. Like, people are going to start dying.
Yeah. It was sort of like 054 GT also.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Yeah.
crashing them things.
And what happened to them? They just suddenly went straight up. So
A lot of people were crashing Hellcats.
Are a lot of people crashing Hellcats?
Remember Bozy tweeted out that photo? It was like 30 cars that had front end damage. I mean, it was mostly Challenger. It doesn't matter, but it's like, that's a lot of power to just suddenly go,
Yeah.
I picked this up, check this out, and then
Yeah.
you go, and then that's it.
Well, you wait till people start stuffing these fucking ZR1s into walls, because that the ZR1 is, I mean, it's, I don't know if it's like faster necessarily than like the fastest McLarens and stuff like that, but it has 715 pounds of torque. And then it has 755 horsepower. And it, it's like, it's the most right now thing possible. I mean, Zach, actually, do we have, is the export on the desktop? Can we play it just like a little bit of the, we'll just fuck it. We'll play a little bit of my track one take. Play the end. Play the at the end. I do like adjust the noise for like the last like minute of it without talking, because drive impressions are embargoed. But fuck it, I can play the end where it's just driving and noise, right?
Totally.
Play like the
Well, and I mean,
the
if
end.
Doug can put his whole video
Yeah,
out
it's
there.
true. Yeah, it's true. I'm not gonna be the first guy to break the embargo, but I ain't a sucker either. So here's ZR1 in Road Atlanta.
God.
It's the car is faster than I am. I mean,
Can you feel that downforce?
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just it's so fast. It made it. I went back to back.
This is the best part.
Watch this through the S's. Watch how fast the
S.
S's go by. Watch this. Into the S's. Watch this. Squeeze throttle.
What?
And you have to stand on the brakes right there. That's just the end of the S's. Holy shit! And then the way it pulls out a 7 onto the back straight is just, it's so ridiculous. It was so crazy, honestly. Like, on the street, the manual's fine. It's a total pussycat when you want it to be. I mean, that's the best thing about a Corvette, right? Like, It's a Corvette. It's definitely a Corvette. It's just a crazy fast Corvette. Watch this, third gear.
Why'd you upshift on your own?
That had a little. I had a consistency issue with that.
That sucks.
I had a consistency issue.
That was whack AF.
Wait, that's a drive impression. That was embargoed.
Sometimes upshift. What is
So I was crossing the kink at 155.
On Jalopnik tomorrow, Matt Farah says
Whack
Corvette whack AF.
No, dude, I couldn't. I did like 10 laps in a manual.
Yeah.
It was kind of scary. I mean, like, you know, that PTM thing, you know,
Yeah.
you can put it in like stupid mode. You know what I mean? Where it's like it won't let you fuck up at all. And it's great that you can do that and then work your way up to like all the way off. But it is in manual, it's like it's so fast that you really do want to have both your hands on the wheel, or at least I felt a lot more comfortable with both my hands on the wheel in the auto. But it made the Grand Sport feel like a Miata. It's the Grand Sport feels like so easy. It's like, oh, it's only 460 horsepower. What could go wrong?
Yeah, but that's like, you know, I pulled onto the highway the other day, and there was a guy in a Hayabusa, and I'm like, is that thing turbocharged? And it was turbocharged.
Yeah.
Because I think you just like, it's like heroin. Like, it's like, okay, well now I'm gonna, and you know,
there's always
more.
You can always get used to it, but I think, and look,
if we couldn't get used to it, everyone would still read Playboy,
right?
And that would be it.
Yeah, we'd have those little Nickelodeon.
Instead, you know, you got 48 Pornhub tabs open. You're like, not yet.
Yeah,
you're clicking 6 pages deep, 8 pages deep. Like,
no, and
I still haven't found the right one.
And I'm not being like, yo, you should stop or whatever, but I am saying that like you can get in the ZR1 and you could teach someone to drive stick on it. Like, it's very easy to drive, and it's a nice street car. It rides well. It rides way better than like a GT3 RS or something like that. It's a beautiful ride. Shocking, actually. The brakes, like, holy hell, the brakes. It was brakes were carbon ceramic, and they have a special new type of coating. They're better than the Z06. Everything in the car has been upgraded. Everything. Gearbox has been upgraded. Torque tube. Like, it's got a dual fuel system now. It has a DFI and port. The blower's a 2.65 liter. 2.65 liter blower. It takes 110 horsepower just to run the blower.
It's the best.
And it's like, I think it's 14 pounds of boost. And it shoots consistent fire, like a blue flame out the exhaust.
My car shoots fire, but it's only got 80 horsepower. So literally 10%.
Smoke isn't fire, Brad.
No, it actually shoots fire.
It was absolutely extraordinary. And Andy, the chassis engineer, said it is possible to take that kink at 170 miles an hour in that car. But I fully vagina'd out at 155. Which is the same speed I did it in the 991 Turbo S.
On the back straight going into 10.
Yeah.
Because it's not straight.
It's not straight, and there is downforce working, but I just wasn't brave enough. Man, I think like maybe if I had telemetry-based lessons for a day with a pro and got really was shown that it can be done and that kind of thing, like I could get there, but I got 30 laps in the car, and that's not enough to go 170 across that kink. Sure. But Randy was out there and set a time. Like,
sure.
I don't know if it's been released, whatever it was, but he set a time that was impressive by everybody's standards.
Well, that's like nearing an active aero car. I mean, it puts 1,000 pounds of downforce in. So your experience with cars has been 1,000 horsepower street cars, and then like the race cars you've driven are lower powered. So I think taking that kink at that speed, you need to have that experience of this is what downforce does. I trust it, and I can go. Well,
and
the
like
speed.
the Ford GT, and you could feel it working. Like it in the Corvette, like it's not so much like downforce as it is lift negation until a certain point. And that point is like, like over 100 miles an hour. Like it's happening at that point, but like it's not the kind of downforce. It's 950 pounds at top speed.
Oh, okay.
And top speed is 214 miles an hour in this car, by the way, which they showed us a video of them doing.
That's with that wing on, it'll do 214? Or with the lower wing?
There's two wings.
Right.
The low wing, it'll do 214. It'll do like 205 with the high wing on.
That's bonkers.
I have no question in my mind that it'll do those speeds. It is. The motor is. Can you, in that group of pictures, Zach, is there a picture with the hood up so you can see the size of the hole in the hood? Because there's a carbon cap on the There. That one. Can you full screen that one? The entire center section there, which you can tell. So there's like 3 pieces of carbon. The entire center section is the intercooler on the blower. And they said that carbon piece, if you wanted to display your intercooler as opposed to that carbon piece, because on Instagram people were like, man, why'd they cover it? Mm-hmm. They covered it because it actually looks quite nice, and it's a nice piece of carbon fiber. But you can undo 4 screws, and the casting of the intercooler looks sort of like it looked in the old C6 ZR1, like not quite as well finished, but they are actually like, we showed it off in the C6 ZR1, and then people like it looked too good, and people thought it looked fake and plasticky. So like we didn't want to overdo that, but like you can take that off and display it if you want.
Chevy
Is there a picture with the hood
says,
up? Because the engine is huge.
I saw that picture on your Instagram with the dude looking through the window. Yeah,
that was Jason Harper. And the engine itself is so fucking big, and they had it on a stand at the track next to the LT4, the Z06 engine. I swear the engine takes up like. Oh, there. Thanks, Zach, from the video. The engine takes up, in terms of like physical volume, like 50% more space. There, yeah. The size of the fucking engine in this car.
Great.
Wow.
It is a massive engine. And the size of the hood. Like you could have like dogs doing tricks through the thing. It is so cool. It's got, dude, how many heat exchangers does the Veyron have? 10? Mm-hmm. ZR1? 13 heat exchangers.
Wow.
Dude, and that front fascia, it's like, I think it's 40% more airflow. Dude, these cars, I will give these guys credit. The Z06, none of these engineers want to hear another fucking peep about overheating cars on the racetrack because this thing's got cooling up the wazoo, and they were running these cars pretty good. Only like 5 laps at a time, and it wasn't super hot at the track. It was like in the 60s, but cars were the temps were all right where they needed to be, and I think they said the horsepower rating is is heat soaked at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So any conditions better than heat soaked at 100 degrees, it will make more than 755 horsepower.
Wow.
Yeah. In the morning we got out and it was like in the high 30s. It was cold in the morning, and Taj Yukter was like, in this weather, he's like, this thing, it could be making like up to 850 horsepower, so you should warm up the tires a little bit before you fuck around.
Man.
And I got in the car and just like pulled out of the driveway and fishtailed pulled me out of the driveway. I was like, oh no, this is gonna be a long day.
Cold tires in an 800 horsepower car.
The car
sounds
is
fun.
so fast.
So someday when we're all in our little pods and Jeff Bezos is harvesting our stem cells, it'll be like, before we go get in our autonomous pod, go to the coating factory or whatever, we'll be like, man, remember when the Corvette had 850 horsepower?
Or cars then
and
will
you
have...
could buy it with a regular license.
I know. I don't want to be the guy who's like, I wish you had needed a license for this, but like, they do include free racing school, and you should take it.
Yeah.
If you get a ZR1, they'll give you free racing school at Spring Mountain, and you should take it.
This will be the 930. In 30 years, people will be like, remember when the people said the ZR1 was scary? Yeah, now it'll...
Which, thank God for modern tires.
Well, that brings up a good question. Like, so you said, this is as fast as things kind of should get.
I mean, I don't want to be the guy who says that, but...
Well, we aren't evolving quick enough to deal with more, right?
Completely true.
So where do we think, because obviously more power is good for marketing. You have to make something faster than the last thing. So where do we think they're going to put their focus? Are they going to go lighter weight? Are they going to go balance? Or like
the mid-engine is where they go from here, right?
So so lap times will continue to be the measuring stick, but maybe not adding power to everything to get it.
I don't know. I don't know, because, Alex Roy's thing about like, well, do we have series automation or parallel automation? Parallel automation is basically automation of tasks where you make an error and the car corrects for you. So
the theoretical uncrashable car.
Uncrashable car. And like, will a 911 Turbo be the fastest non-crashable car first? Possibly.
That would be awesome. Non-crashable car production record.
Seriously.
That's like bumper bowling world
They
record.
put like my grandma in, and she sets a Nürburgring record.
I mean, knowing what I know, having spent some time with the Corvette guys and the Camaro guys, like the team, like that might be the last crashable car.
Yeah. Dude, the last crashable car is gonna be worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
The last crashable car is gonna be.
It's like Carrera GTs now.
On Craigslist 2050, it's gonna be like crashable car. I know what I have.
Oh man, Mustang Crowd Killer Edition.
Yeah, the Widowmaker is like the crowd.
The Widowmaker. Oh, the Widow's not you. It's everybody at your Cars and Coffee.
You know, I want to be able to feel the wall. You know, that's kind of what I'm into.
So, but like, yeah, you'll get these things that protect you more and more, and they already do. Like, I mean, all this stuff that people complain about, traction control, ABS, it all came in racing to try and make drivers faster, and so like that variable dial traction control.
Oh, and the AMG GTR, that's cool.
Yeah, and I do find, like you said, in I've just like in the ZL1, it will let you be an idiot if you want to, but in some of the like the mid range stuff, you can't switch all that off sometimes, and it's there. So I kind of feel too like we're approaching this thing where if you can't get any faster, then you have to feel something. So instead of it just being a Model S dual motor, punishing your intestines, like it's got to have flow to it. It's got to be like the Miata kind of thing.
I agree. The Corvettes, both Grand Sport and ZR1, were excellent in the feedback department. I mean, the inputs, the steering is really nice. The brakes are good. The shifters are... Although, it's easy to miss fifth and end up in seventh. That bugs me. Yeah. And what bugged me even more was I asked the engineers... I was like, Porsche does a really good version of this where they have a detent like going into reverse in a BMW, so you don't accidentally end up in seventh unless you really want to go to seventh, and it's very nice. Whereas I ended up in seventh on the track, mind you, a couple times going for fifth on the back straight. There is a detent there, but it's a very shallow one, and they said they hadn't so much as sat in or felt the other one, the competitive one. I was like, you guys got to try other stuff.
I'd be interested. I think it would be really cool. I don't think they need to do this, but it would be cool if they had like an equivalent to the 911T where it was just a 6-speed with maybe shorter gears.
No, that'd be so cool. But the gas guzzler thing, they need that. And although ZR1 has gas guzzler tax, obviously, but the Grand Sport has no gas guzzler tax, which is nice. And actually, in ZR1, you don't get cylinder deactivation. They really just threw it all out the window. You don't get cylinder deactivation. You don't get the skip shift. They said fuck it.
What's the MPGs?
Oh, it's shit. They didn't actually even bother telling. Oh no, actually no. I said it's shit without thinking. They said that it is possible to crack 30. Is possible in seventh gear.
What?
They said they
No way.
Andy or Taj, one of them said they went on a 500-mile road trip and saw mid-20s. And
That's
that it is possible
all we had to do
see
was
30.
take the supercharger
But
off.
automatic.
No, it decouples. It's got
really?
it's got an electronic decoupler. It's got a whole bit. It's got a bunch of shit. It's seventh gear dude. This thing's got legs, long legs. It's seventh gear on the highway, 75 miles an hour. You're turning 1,500 RPM. So if you decouple the blower, and you've got all the, all right. Guess how big the ZR1's throttle body is in millimeters.
119.
It's the largest ever put onto a GM vehicle.
It doesn't
C
help
note 100.
It's 95 millimeters, which it's like is this. It's like this.
Yeah.
I don't know what's about this size. Like
Your head, judging by this camera.
It's like
Goggles.
my ski goggles.
like wearing goggles.
Ski goggles that would fit on me. That's the size of the throttle body. They said was it 650? Oh, what was it? Fuck. There was some crazy math formula of the amount of volume of air and fuel. Someone said on the Autobahn they went through a tank of fuel in 15 minutes, which I think is pretty funny.
That's pretty great.
We were going through fuel pretty quick on the track. It's thirsty. It also is. It has the loudest idle of any production car I have ever heard. blah, 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 blah. It's like we were inside doing like the track briefing, and they brought the cars around, and it was like, you're fucking kidding me, right? And all they were talking about was how loud. They were so happy at how loud it was. They were like, this is the most powerful, fastest, and loudest Corvette ever. That was a talking point. Loudest. It's so funny.
It's just, but that's so great, right? Like
Yeah.
That's. I mean, I love that this thing is like, well, you can't take it to Europe because it'll like take people's ankles.
Yeah, it'll
off.
saw people's ankles.
It's like, well, too bad your weak European ankles. Like,
it does have a quiet mode. It has a quiet mode that is reasonably quiet, actually. And then pull up the picture of the wing there, Zach. So the wing is I made a little joke of this on Instagram, and I wasn't clear. With the facts. So the wing is actually bolted to the bumper. It goes through the bodywork to the bumper. Consequently, like other Corvette wings that are lower, it doesn't lift up when you lift the hatch. So, for most things, it doesn't really matter. But when I was putting my camera case in there, it's like, you have to do a big up and over, and your opening's kind of small. So that's like... That's the only real point against. In every other way, it's just a Corvette. Which is, look at the clearance there when I opened the hatch. They designed it nice. That wing, dude, it's got fucking aero, this thing. The front splitter isn't just a splitter. It's actually an upside down wing. Like if you look at the underside of the front splitter, it's actually got like an upside down shape to it. It's very, very, very cool. Car is really, really neat. They made these things so fast. It was faster than me.
So while you were on the ZR1 launch, I was in Southern California experiencing the glorious Toyota Corolla hatchback. and the new Avalon.
And
they launched them both together. They're cars.
The Avalon was the only car on that list of vehicles likely to make it to 200,000 miles. It was the only one thing that wasn't like a body-on-frame truck.
The Avalon looks like it has at least as much cooling as that Corvette.
It's got to have 13 heat exchangers, right?
No, because everything below the badge is blocked off.
Oh, I know it is.
That giant grill has nothing in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you give me a picture of the Avalon? It just occurred to me I couldn't pick out an Avalon out of
It's horrendous.
It's horrendous?
It's awful looking.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's an Avalon.
Yeah.
And how's the Avalon different from a Camry these days?
It's bigger.
It's bigger? It's a lot bigger?
Yeah, it's significantly bigger.
I mean, it just doesn't look like anything. It looks like it could be any car anywhere.
Well, I think that they went bold with it, but they went too bold for an Avalon.
What's your definition of bold, sir?
Well, I mean, it's got this like 720
tips.
It's got this like 720S side vent thing that looks out of place.
That's
down
like
there
from
on
a
the bottom.
LaFerrari.
Yeah.
That does look weird.
It's so out of place. The taillights stick out from the body like 6 inches, which is weird. And then the grill is literally the entire front of the car. It's
the grill. The front looks like
car.
an Elantra, kind of. Oh wow, it's a lot. There's a big black,
and all of that is
there.
just plastic.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Everything above the badge is where you have your inlet.
It looks like an apple core. Like if you just turn on its nose and just like shove the apple in there and then it cuts everything. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the Toyota sedans right now because they're just there's just a lot of sharp edges. I don't know.
I have an uncle who was like a diehard Avalon fan. He bought like 6 Avalons in a row. It was the last vehicle sold in North America with a front bench seat.
Yeah.
And he had a bad hip.
Oh, nice.
That's why he bought the fucking...
But his wife had a good wrist. Is that why they had a bench seat?
Oh, Dick and Mary. Pull up the interior. Let's see. His name's Dick.
The new interior is a little busy for me. It's got
is that a tablet? What's going on in the center stack there?
It's actually no, it's multiple pieces there, but so it's got like this weird like 4-layer bean dip of dash.
You didn't just think of bean dip. You pre-wrote that.
No, I literally just
Bravo,
thought of that.
Brownell.
Thank you.
You get a high five for the bean dip dash. It really does look.
And it's got this thing on the door at the front that doesn't connect to anything. Like it's just there. But I do love the colors and the stitching is great and really it's a comfortable car.
It really has a connection to the. Actually, I believe the Lexus interior, like the center armrest, cup holder area. It looks exactly like Lexus. That the left door and the way that door panel is stitched looks exactly like Lexus. Wow. Yeah, give me a little Lexus there, Zachary. The dashboard section. Well, yeah. See, look at that.
Yeah,
It's not so different.
no.
I mean, it's definitely a similar design language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say that the brown leather, it's on like the highest spec version of the car.
It's Cocoa Mocha. Be respectful.
But it's really nicely done leather, and I'll give it that.
All right.
The Corolla hatch was actually kind of interesting because I got it with a 6-speed.
Yeah, Larry Chen was driving that all weekend, whatever it is, and posted on Instagram and kept like, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? And don't read the comments, but but seriously, what did he? Because he wasn't posting any impressions. He was just saying, what did people think?
I think that's embargoed too. But anyway,
okay.
It was. I mean, it's based on the IM. So if you've driven an IM, it's a lot like that. I mean, they've changed some stuff, but it's not much different. It's fine. It's great for a commuter. It's got a little bit of sporty feel, and
that's all you want from a car like that. We can sit here and make fun of it, but it's like, yeah, that's what that's for.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, and everybody who owns one, 99% of the people that will buy them will never get to within 50% of the car's capabilities.
Of the Avalon?
Of either one.
Oh, the Corolla?
Like, the people that buy these are not, like, exploiting their...
They're not going to enter it in Formula D because Frederick did.
Right, exactly.
And did well.
I think you could... You don't think you could go to get the Corolla and go to track day with your 6-speed Corolla?
I think you could. I don't think you'd be super fast, but it's all right.
It's okay. Mazda 2 had a spec series for a while, right?
Yeah. And they do run spec Honda Fit at Grid Life. And actually, I drove that Mazda 2 that had like full suspension and sticky tires on it, and it was actually could carry. It had really high cornering speeds. It was like 2,300 pounds and then 14-inch slicks on it.
I mean, like any new car, it's far more capable than anything that was available 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So, like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's a good car.
All right. How much was it? Cheap?
They didn't have an MSRP.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, man. You ever drive a Corolla XRS?
Yeah.
Those things are awesome.
There's actually a guy who works at the Mercedes dealership where you pick up press cars and stuff, and he has one that's like got Willwoods but it's beige. I'm like, oh, this is the coolest thing because it's such a unloved car. Clearly, he got his hands on it and was like, oh, this is actually decent.
Yeah.
And
that engine's really fun.
Built it a bit. It has Yamaha influenced engine.
I like the Matrix XRS.
Yeah, same thing.
Or Pontiac Vibe GT.
Yeah, same deal. Yeah, is that the Vibe GT is the way to get one of the steel, right? Is that
super?
Is
steel.
it the same engine? Is it the 2ZZ?
Same car
in the XRS?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Vibe GT is the same as the XRS.
It is.
Yeah.
Is that the same as the Corolla XRS?
Corolla, yeah.
Okay, so it's the 2ZZ. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
but you got to get it with a manual, right? Because the auto will never pull to $8,000. The auto will like always upshift. You don't get into VTEC or to VVTI in that engine until you hit like 6,300 RPM, and then you get on the. They are not good looking cars. The vibes are heinous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, under $10,000, you'd have a hatch that revs like crazy and was available with a stick. So
Speaking of ugly Pontiacs, Hannah, my fiance, loved the tented Aztec at Radwood, Sonoma. She was like, "It's got the tent."
Yeah.
I was like, "You know about the tent?"
Yes.
That tent was awesome.
Weird GM cars. We're thinking about getting an ELR, Cadillac ELR.
You're thinking about getting one?
Yeah.
You should. Are they? How cheap are they right now?
22.
Yes.
Yeah.
At 22, that's a phenomenal automobile.
At 80,
remember that thing, Zach?
The what?
The electric Cadillac. That was like $75,000 that we got as a press car. The ELR.
Oh yeah, the ELR.
The Cadillac Volt.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got 2 tickets in that car.
He did.
Yeah. At 80, it makes no sense. But at 22,
Yeah.
Wow.
22 is a good. That's a good
looking
car.
Volt.
Yeah.
How about that?
You have to deal with Q, but other than that,
Ooh, that's true. For 22 and that kind of efficiency, though, I think it's probably a good idea.
and also it's a great looking car.
It is.
Yeah.
You could just throw it on rims.
I saw 2 of them today on my way here, and I was like, yeah, I need to buy one of these.
You saw 2 in one day?
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope you bought a lotto ticket. What else is happening? You guys drive anything crazy recently?
Oh, well, here's something cool.
Yeah, the Avalon.
No. Golf R in Canada is available in 34 different colors.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that in an ad somewhere. Where did I see that?
I don't know.
Oh, did you just tweet it? Is that where I saw
I
it?
posted up something because I went down and there was at a purple press car, and then there was a Viper green one at the dealership, and I'm like, so they didn't make a big fanfare about this, but they have there are the standard 4 colors or whatever that you'd
Red,
see.
white, blue, black.
Sure. But then they have 30 other ones, which are $2,900 option.
$2,900 option.
Yep.
That seems like a lot.
Seems like a lot.
It is
8% of the price of a
Yeah.
Golf
They're saying
R.
they have a 15% take rate on it though, and you can like literally 30 different colors.
I wouldn't be surprised if most
anything you
people who
want.
drive Golf Rs could afford cars that were more expensive than Golf Rs, and so they
Absolutely.
wouldn't. I mean, think about all that stupid shit people glue onto minis.
I would guess that the average price of cars I've owned in my lifetime is less than the paint option on that car. So.
Yeah, but again, the Golf R is kind of like the E46
Are those all the colors?
335. Like it's
A bunch of colors.
so.
So let me see. Is that an orange there? What's that orange about?
They have 3 oranges. They have copper orange metallic, magma orange, and TNT orange.
TNT orange, I think, looks kind of nice. I'm a fan of that from back here.
See if we can pull.
So this will all be available in the States potentially next year,
Why is this only in Canada?
because Canada is often a test market for different things. They try different things out. So we like
They're testing friendliness, I think.
testing
for like
friendliness.
a while. Yeah,
Moose avoidance.
that is the best test.
So they're going to get rid of the bottom 4 that don't perform. They're going to get rid of them, and they're going to add 10 more. So you're going to have
Oh, wow.
40 different colors available.
It's pretty good.
And again, yeah, like if you used to buy a 3 Series or something, or an IS, like if you can afford an IS 350, but you can get a Golf R, you might want the Golf R because the Golf R is like tons of performance. It does everything, and it doesn't look
It comes
like
in nuclear waste green.
your boss doesn't be like, "Am I paying you too much money?" Like it just looks whatever, and you could get cool colors.
At what point does specking out a Golf R though get into Audi S3 territory? You've got a nicer interior.
Yeah, but then you have a sedan.
But then
which
you have to
guys
get
like.
it in black, Brad. Black.
They had that available in Viper Green. It was dope.
and
I
you
know.
can get a manual.
On an Audi, you can get, isn't it $2,500 PTS?
Yeah.
It is, right?
Yeah, something like that.
In Canada, it's probably what's the conversion? It's like $75,000,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Actually, it's funny. Like this thing is basically the same price in Canada as in the States. Until you do the currency conversion, then ours are much cheaper than yours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Even cheaper?
So yeah, so we got like I drove one of those. It's cool. HPA's got their build package on it. I want to go drive, which is now basically making M4 power.
Yeah, I drove
on the 2-liter.
APR's Golf R that had a big turbo on it. Did you drive that fucking thing?
I didn't drive APRs, but I drove 034 Motorsports.
It was one of these cars with a big turbo on it is a missile.
Does APR do anything to the hull decks? Because that's the HPA's cool stuff is that they've actually cracked hull decks, so you can.
Why did I think this had a Quafer wave track or something like
Could be,
that?
yep.
I don't know. Can you go look at APR's site and see what their Mark 7 Golf R package looks like?
Because HPA is completely cracked. They can be like 100% rear if you want. Like
That's gangster.
Wow.
Dude, HPA, they put TTRS gearboxes in the car. They do a bunch of.
but like if you don't want to go to that level, if you just want to be like, I want, it's a hybrid turbo. So that you want a turbo, intake manifold, and software for both engine and transmission. They prefer the DSG, but you could do it to manual. But transmission and all-wheel drive control, you can do drag setup. You can switch it all on the fly. So you can do a drag setup because they got their Texas mile stuff. You can do an eco setup and just run the front wheels.
any luck over there? No.
Nope. No luck.
All right. Well,
But yeah, I mean, I think Marcel was saying like that engine is there's so much room. They left tons.
they did
of room
leave a
on the
lot of
table.
room on in those engines. I don't like the character of the engine that much. It's not like they're fucking fast, but
What, the 2.0?
yeah, it just doesn't like inspire me in any way. Really.
It doesn't sound really that great.
Yeah.
The 5 is great.
The 5-cylinder is
Sounds
badass.
awesome.
The TTRS was real good. And the RS3 is real good as well, even though I haven't driven it. I just assume it's the same thing, right?
I drove like a 550 wheel TTRS, and it was
great,
bonkers.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
Those things like run in the high 11s with the APR on them.
Yeah, with just an
crazy
ECU
fast.
tune, they go in the 11s, and then they go in the 11s with just a tune, and then they go with that hybrid turbo and exhaust and intercooler. They run like a 10.3. The one in Alabama had 660 horsepower.
That was nice.
It was
Drove
very
great.
good. It was like 5 parts, right? Mm-hmm. Exhaust, intercooler, the hybrid turbo, tune, and like an intake manifold or something.
Yeah, it was simple, and it was running well in the heat, and it drove great, and it felt. And that was the old generation. Now, like the new one has way better turn-in, steering feel, everything. I mean, the new one is like it's a good car, very good sports car. You drove it on the track for a drive last year.
It was awesome. It was like a rally car. It was a really good, like good. It was like halfway between a rally car and a supercar. It was lovely.
That's a good combo.
You get that thing with like even. It doesn't need more power, but because I'm me, 75 extra horsepower in that thing, and
we do that with a tune for sure, and that's why the RS3 is going to be so rad.
Did someone run in the 10s with a tune in an RS3? I think someone ran in the 10s.
That's insane.
I swear to God,
that's crazy.
So can you look up APR's RS3? I'm telling you, someone ran in the fucking 10s with like 2 parts on one of these things.
I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah. I don't know if it's on their website or if it's in some fucking forum.
Because everything you read on a forum has got to be true. Right?
No, but APR was doing it. It wasn't like...
yeah.
It wasn't like a conspiracy. Or I actually think it was a customer.
10.5.
10.5.
10.5. APR Stage 1 RS3. 10.5 at 127.6 miles an hour.
Wow.
That's so cool. What happens if we play a YouTube video in a YouTube live stream? Are we going to get in trouble? Can we just play it?
It may flag us for playing someone else's content.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we probably shouldn't go.
I mean, people. Look, it's a car pointed down a dark quarter mile. It's gonna sit there, and then it's gonna start moving, and then a clock's gonna say 10.5.
And it's an 18-second video, so
that's a good point. Yeah, all right.
But I mean, that's really cool for a car that is like kind of like a compact-ish
dude
sedan.
That's like a $54,000 sedan with a fucking computer on it.
20 years ago, to run that speed, you need something that went.
Bowling,
do it.
Bowling ball.
That may have to be the next car, man. 10.5. Just here's what. Just so you know how fast that is. I just spent how long waxing poetic about how scary fast the fucking ZR1 is, right? Mm-hmm. The quarter mile for that car with 755 horsepower is 10.2 at 134.
Probably traction limited.
Of course it is, but we're still talking about a 750 horsepower sports car. That's a little.
So somebody's going to put
sedan.
Somebody's going to put slicks on it, and they're in the 9s.
Yeah, that street speed guy or whoever who got his ZR1, he ran a 10.1 on drag radials.
Wow.
I don't know if he has a stick or an auto. With the auto, I think he has a stick.
He has a stick.
Oh wow, he ran a 10.1 with stick. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet that would be a 10.0 or a 9.9 with the auto.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
The auto is good at banging full throttle upshifts. I'll give it that. It's good at 2 things. It's good at going very slow, and it's good at going very fast. It's not good at a sort of spirited 3/4 speed canyon drive where it goes. It doesn't like snap. The
transmission's not good.
Yes. And the GM guys of the ZR1 thing were all like, leave it in D. It's better than you. Leave it in D. I was like, why would I buy a $130,000 sports car to leave it in fucking D? And they're like, because it's faster. And I'm like, you guys, all you ever think about is what's faster. And they said this. They were talking about GT350R. They're like, do you like that thing? I'm like, fuck yeah. Who doesn't like that? And they're like, we don't like it. I'm like, why not? And they're like, the engine, like it revs to 8250, but like it doesn't really make much power past like 7700. So like, why bother? And I go, have you heard it?
Cars? Why bother with cars?
And it's like,
why eat ice cream?
Yeah.
You know?
It was a
At
very
a certain
interesting.
point.
Well, it was an interesting mentality that so clearly led to a car like the ZR1. You know what I mean? Why does it need to shift fucking smooth when you're in manual shift mode? You shouldn't use manual shift mode.
Well, they also
Why does it? You know what I mean?
these are also people that live every day in Kentucky.
Detroit mostly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, cars developed in Michigan.
Well, I think it's just like
Well, still okay.
it's
I
what-
grew up in
what-
Michigan. I know those people.
I mean, look, it's just a mentality of this thing it's the fastest, so just let it do what it is, and you go faster. And it's like, but I don't want to go faster. I want to have more fun. So,
But again, that comes down to the idea of like, as we approach the limit of what our reactions can do and what we can do, it's like either you buy a car that will let you go faster despite your bad habits, or you look for something that gives you sort of that like 80%, you know, that 80-90% thing you get on a Great Canyon road.
Yeah.
And why I prefer track is great. Like you see your limitations, you work on them, you feel like you improved at the end of the day, blah, blah, blah. Like, and then there's guys who are at a higher level who are competitive, and that's a whole different thing. But if you get a great road, it's more, you just get that flow, and you're not thinking about anything. You're maybe not listening to anything. You're just banging through the gears. I got lent an Exige S1.
That's probably fun.
And it's just, you don't, and the roads were kind of a little wet and cold. And it had like it was a little.
And then there was deer and children, and I was running
no
from
deer.
the cops, actually.
No dear, but just like that kind of like, it required concentration to drive, and I find that really, you know, relaxing and meditative, and one of the things I love about driving is that you don't feel the urge to check your phone if you're driving properly in a well set up car kind of thing.
I agree with you. I do think it's cool that manufacturers outdo each other, and that, you know, that fucking Chevy will sell you a 750 horsepower Corvette. Like, that's pretty awesome. And, you know, but I don't think that I mean, I don't think that car is for a lot of people. I mean, I think if people are really honest about what they want out of a sports car, most people can't handle that. I don't think I could. I'm not sure I want that in my life. This Grand Sport on a road, that's the shit.
I think that, yeah.
You want to be able to touch full throttle once in a while, right? You don't want to have to be on the floorboard, but if you have a car where you literally can't ever go flat, I think you just have too much power. Like, you know.
Maybe there's something wrong with me. I enjoy floorboarding.
I do too once in a while. No,
I mean, in really slow stuff.
I think that's because you don't get to drive enough really fast stuff. Sorry, Brad.
I've driven really fast stuff, and it always seems kind of like, it's
You
fun.
don't. What about
but
you? Don't like a little faster?
I love fast.
faster?
I love fast, but I love fast on a track, and on the street, I love slow.
I understand that.
Like, I mean, I've been at Road Atlanta at 150 in the rain with, you know, a Porsche driver ahead of me that I can't see.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is awesome. This is the greatest thing in the world. But
That's
then,
the only way to make Road Atlanta feel that fast, right? Because Road Atlanta's so big.
Yeah.
If you don't have 500 horsepower, Road Atlanta feels like you're crawling.
And I love power. I love power. I love power. People say I don't because I drive.
I think it's because you defend your 912.
I love that stupid car. I drove it across the country and back, and it was great. It was 7,000 miles. I did 1,000-mile days. I camped every night. It was awesome. It was so much fun.
I mean, I understand.
I know it's not your thing. I
You
know
have
it's not your
bond with
thing,
your
but-
car. I'm just a little more power than that. Maybe.
It's an
That's all.
awful,
A little more power than a 912E.
it's an
hard
awful,
man to
awful,
please.
terrible
I don't
car.
need that
but
much, but
Matthew.
I do need more than that.
I'm so enthusiastic
Maniac.
about.
Yeah.
I'm so enthusiastic about the RADWOOD era, but not the fast RADWOOD era stuff. I like the slow burn kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm weird.
I mean, I've driven a lot of really slow cars.
Tell me more about the Liata Caballero.
No.
The what?
A Liata Caballero.
What's a Liata Caballero?
It's the finest car made in Post Falls, Idaho. It's a Chevette that's meant to look like a Monte Carlo, and it is horrendous.
a Liata.
It's,
How do you spell? How do you spell
it weighs
Liata?
700 pounds more than a regular Chevette.
Oh my! It's like a Zimmer conversion on a Fiero, right?
Yeah,
Kinda.
except the Zimmer is cool looking ish.
How do you spell Liata?
You spell Liata correctly, but you spell Caballero incorrectly because that's the name. No, not 2 L's because they didn't spell it.
Because it's not Caballero, it's Caballero.
Caballero.
It's,
That's funny.
L-E-A-T-T-A.
I thought you were just being really white, but in actuality, they were being really white.
This
car is so obscure that Google's like, did you mean this singer?
No. Okay, Zach, it's Leatta.
Liata.
Oh, I spelled that wrong.
Oh. A Liata Caballero sounds like the car from the fucking Simpsons.
Look at it. Look at it in all its beauty.
My
Some of these photos are
God.
mine.
Yeah, right there in front of the American flag.
They did also do sort of like an El Camino.
Holy shit.
That is the greatest.
That is... Have you driven one of those?
Yes, I have.
That is the worst car I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever... Someone made that and then went, yes, we're done.
This is right.
Someone made it and they bolted it to a thing that wobbled outside a supermarket, and then someone cut that off and started driving it around.
It
All right, how do you describe
really-
this on the radio? It has the nose of a mid-70s Lincoln.
Run a Lincoln into a wall and then back it up into a wall and put headlights back on. I mean, it looks like it looks like it's 6 feet long, maybe.
It looks like it should be 16 feet long.
Yeah.
It's like if you took one
But
of those
they cut
personal...
the back doors off.
If you took one of those personal luxury coupes, and then just removed where the rear window meets the trunk, you just cut straight down.
It looks like a Pontiac Grand Prix had a flipper baby.
Wait, are the fenders paint? I'm a few feet from the monitor. Are the fenders painted? Is that a painted on, sprayed on abs, or is that metal?
No, it generally it's all
No, sir.
bulges out.
Okay,
Those are fender flares.
that is pure Bondo, man.
that's so
It's really bad. So I've driven like the worst possible slow cars, and the Jolly. Like arguably, a Jolly is as fun as you can get from a slow car because you never want to go any faster than you're going.
The Fiat, can you give a Fiat 600 Jolly? It was a car designed to be used as a tender for people's yachts in Monaco, and that's actually true.
It's a beach car.
And I've driven pre-war Rollses and stuff like that. So I mean, I
Has wicker fucking chairs.
thrown clear. So I love stuff like that.
Did you say thrown clear?
Thrown clear. Thrown clear.
That's great.
So like I understand the joy of driving that, but you have to have it like there has to be sort of a balance. So I drove last weekend. I drove a Hayabusa powered Caterham, which was lovely. And motorcycle engine cars are really interesting because they are really fast. My friend Adam has I wrote it up for Road and Track, and I'll write the Busa Caterham for Road and Track too. A mid-engined Kawasaki powered JDM Mini.
Rocking.
Because you have to wind them out, they're not in traffic, they're not that fast, but when you find a decent road, you just really have to.
But don't you have to also wind the fucking shit out of them and dump the clutch to get them going too?
A little bit, it takes a little bit of finesse. It's a sequential gearbox, whatever. But again, the GT350, it's not slow down low, but you want to wind it out. You want to work at it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that there's we're still looking
The
at
pickup conversion Caballero is really fucking terrible. I mean, I would love to talk about swapped motorcycle engines thing. Oh, go back. I like the full gallery. Bring that up, Zach, because we only got the one picture. I don't think everyone zoom in. I don't
These
think
are all-
everyone
They don't
got
understand the
these
full
are all my
scale.
photos.
perspective. Oh, these are your photos.
at the top. Yeah, my photos.
Would you say you're a Caballero enthusiast?
I would say not. I believe that the original article was I drove the worst car in America.
And I'm sorry, did you say this was based on a Chevette?
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck, it's terrible.
It's so bad.
So
Scroll down a little
brutal.
bit. Look how puffy everything is. That's a right there in the dashboard. Inaugural, maybe the inaugural or the second one, but the Lemons show.
Oh, yeah.
It was worst in show.
It actually looks like it shares a steering wheel with the early 80s Aston Martins. The two-spoke, downward bent steering wheel. And
Same guy that owns this also has the second ever Concord of Lemons worst in show.
Which was what?
It was a Nissan.
Look at that.
Bro, what's happening on the
Oh my
right side
God.
there?
That's the best part.
What's happening there? Is that a pouch?
It's a satchel.
So it's a
It must be.
marsupial.
Is that where you keep your young?
It's the dash scrotum.
Why is the steer? Wait, why is the steering wheel the same upside down in this picture that is in the other? Does the spokes actually point up on the steering wheel, or do they point down?
Well, if you turn the wheel,
I don't remember.
No, I know it turns, but either this car is posed exactly like the other one, or is the steering wheel supposed to point up? Oh, no, it's not.
Different car.
Okay.
I don't know how they attach the steering wheel.
this dash is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a diaper was glued where a airbag should go. And it's now, I thought it was the glove box at first, but below it is a glove box.
There's a glove box.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely stupendous.
This car's amazing.
That's where you put your change.
He actually, the guy who built them actually built like a 50s looking one, which is not so bad. It looks like a little Ford business coupe, and you're like, oh, okay, well, they wanted something more efficient that looked like a bigger car and blah, blah, blah. But then when it got to this generation where it was all like the opera window looking stuff,
Yeah.
it just did not translate.
Sir, let me ask you a question. Do you like your Grand Marquis, but you hate parallel parking? Because I have something for you in the briefcase I have next to me.
I mean, it's Ross Perot as a car.
I could make you.
So bad.
What color do you want your Landau roof? Because I could do brown, tan, maybe even brown or tan. Do you want a mezuzah? Because I could put one in between
so
your upper
brutal.
window. Wow, it's fucking really, really
I'm
bad.
glad I was able to educate
No,
you
yeah.
about
Do you know what
that.
the modern version of this is? Have you seen the N2A motors?
No.
You must have. It's N2A motors, and it's these really bad
yes.
50s like
Oh, do they do
Corvette body.
Do they do like the Corvette that
They
looks like
put
a front? Oh,
that's the
not
60s
good.
one. That's not even the worst. The older one,
That one.
Oh,
It's trying to be like a 57 Chevy on a Corvette.
and for some
Body.
reason they also seem to have Rezvani Beasts on their website. I don't know why. But what the fuck is going on with this? I don't know.
I'm trying to find it. Talk amongst yourselves.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's it right there. But it's the 789. That's what it's called. I don't know why it's called that. That has about the same proportions. Can you pull
Do you
that
think
over?
it was because it was inspired by a 56 Chevy, but it's the 789?
The 5.6 and
789.
Oh,
I mean,
pull it over now. Get it on the screen.
It says it right there. Inspired by classic Chevy models from 57, 58, and 59.
Oh, okay. That makes more
okay.
The
sense.
789 embodies the best of the
Incorporating
past.
designs that have withstood the test of time.
Oh,
Boy,
have they?
is he wrong about that. Fuck.
Oh,
The wheels really make that one. What are those wheels?
proportion of that is awful.
Yeah, that's the
Not
thing.
good.
They never look right. And it's a lot of these other ones. When I see people who say they're gonna make I want to make a new.
That one's built
It
on
looks
an
like a
XLR.
Challenger, but
That
what?
poor XLR.
Oh, it's
XLRs
an
looked
XLR.
great.
Dude, AI Design built a wide body XLR with
that'd be
molded
cool.
flares on it that looked really, really good.
They looked way better than they were.
Yeah, God, they really shot themselves in the foot by using that North Star motor instead of just a stupid LS, didn't they? They'd be great if they were like LS, convertible hardtop things.
The supercharged ones were kind of neat.
The V's,
But
yeah,
I'd
weren't
still-
they like $100,000 and like
Yeah.
not as fast as a Corvette?
Yeah,
That's
and
a
they were
problem.
only available with an automatic.
I really
so.
like the car casting thing where the mom in Sons of Anarchy had an XLR. I thought I was like,
Oh
perfect.
yeah, Peggy Bundy, right?
Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, product placement.
Well, no, because it was like they weren't selling it at the time. It was kind of like hey, plastic surgery kind of
was
went
it?
okay on our Corvette, and it's
Oh, that's a good point. The years do not line up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's an editorial decision, huh?
Aging thing.
We watch when I go in, at the gym, instead of just putting on music, I go to like Apple Music videos because I'm like, oh, we'll just put the music videos under the TV. And there's some Snoop and Dre videos from the 90s and early 2000s are so full of product placement.
Yeah.
Like the Chrysler Citadel SUV, and there's Beats and Hypnotic and all the shit. Every 30 seconds is a product placement in the video. It's amazing how much they just
I remember
shove
when
in
that
there.
got in movies with the Audi in Iron Man, when it was like the Audi, he almost runs him over and it's like Audi badge for some time.
Yeah. Linger.
Okay.
Yes.
I've interviewed a bunch of picture car coordinators over the years, and it's really interesting. I think when they have the ability to or allowed to match cars with characters, because it doesn't always happen that way. But in Fargo, for instance, if you've seen Fargo, the kind of unbalanced character there, Peggy, I think her name is. She was supposed to have a Chrysler Imperial, and the car coordinator's like, oh, what about like a Corvair? And it's like it fits the character really well because she's kind of literally unstable, and they give her a literally unstable car. Or I just went to the Man in the High Castle studios, which is shot in Vancouver, and they're kind of pairing like old Japanese cars with like the characters who go with them. So like a stoic guy would get like a less fancy old Japanese car from the Lane Museum or something.
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting.
Like a Prince.
Yeah.
Prince Skyline 1600 or something. I probably made that.
Well, they gave the one thing that stood out is they gave sort of like this femme fatale character a Kaiser, which is Kaiser Darren. Yeah,
with the sliding
the doors slide. Yeah,
and it was so cool because it looked like they shot it in sort of at night, and they put the car kind of like glowed because it was like yellow, so they kind of lit it cool. And it's just kind of neat when you talk to them and they're like actually a car guy, and they're like, well, I like the character of this car, and kind of match it up with what the show's trying to do.
I think that'd be a fun gig, matching cars with characters. I think it'd be not easy. It'd be a good way to spend your time.
Yeah, fun. From what I understand is like being a car coordinator is a huge pain because they're always like, if you want to do old stuff, it's always breaking, and you need it to like run for 5 minutes and then shut off, and then you gotta get in, and it's like, oh, I need a shot, and it's like, well, we only have one, Datsun 1600 Sport. Yeah,
like back up, move forward, back up, move forward, back up, move forward.
Yeah, but it's it's a whole thing. Like it's this hidden industry that goes on, and I'm sure if you guys have talked to I forget what the picture car company is out here that does that rebuilt the Ecto 1 and stuff like that. Like we had Joe Walzer on who rebuilt the Back to the Future A car, and me and him were like nerding out on super crazy, super in detail DeLorean shit for quite some time. I just went to visit that car, the Peterson. It was nice to see it. The car's fucking sweet. So nice.
I have nothing to do tomorrow. I think I might go to the Peterson.
Go to the Peterson.
Yeah.
You should. Have you been since it opened?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I've been in the building, but my honeymoon was actually in the vault at the Peterson when they were closed.
Oh, that's cool.
Because Blake Z. Wrong was working there at the time.
Wait.
Like you set up a cot and stayed in there?
No. We visited while it was closed.
Okay.
Yeah,
I kept 2 cars down there for like 6 months.
I also took a trip to Singer, and it was awesome.
Oh yeah. Singer's it's smaller than you think, right?
Yeah. I told my wife
it's a little place.
I told my wife we're here for a week. I get 1 car day, and we did a bunch of car stuff that day. It was cool.
How did she handle it?
She was great. Yeah. I mean, she's been with me for 16 years. She knows I'm a car guy. Too. So.
Hannah, I brought Hannah to RADWOOD Sonoma, and she really enjoyed herself.
Yeah,
there was a lot to see up there.
Yeah, that was a weird event
because there was the lead billetproof, and then there was
Concord of Lemons. There was
shit going on.
A bunch of stuff from the Gambler 500. It was a cool event.
Yeah,
the way I described it when I wrote it up was that it was kind of like a Comic-Con for cars.
Yeah,
because no matter what you're into, car-wise, there's something there to enjoy. So.
Yeah, and we picked the right corner to watch like the last 30 minutes of the Lemons race too, and she was like awestruck because watching Lemons, you just got to watch one corner.
Yeah,
and we happened to pick the corner next to where the rescue trucks were staged, and the rescue trucks weren't. We watched for half hour. The rescue trucks were parked for maybe 2 minutes.
Right,
they were just out and out and out, and she's like, what the fuck is going on? And we're from where, Sonoma has great elevation, so you can see, in Lemons, they put so many cars in the goddamn track that if the rescue truck's out there, like, you get a traffic jam and, like, you could actually be stopping, really stopping on the track, and, like, it would snake the whole way back up the track. It was crazy. I've never, like, watched like that. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. We went back on Sunday, my wife and I, and we sat in the stands and watched for about an hour.
It's hilarious.
It was awesome. Yeah,
it's hilarious. Super cool. If you ever want the best racing you could watch is Lemons racing.
Of
in
course,
person.
I sold her on buying a Boxster, so I have a Boxster, and I
You
sold.
do?
Yeah.
Oh.
I sold her on the idea of buying a Boxster because I was like, these are so cheap, they're gonna go up in value. And then there was 2 of them at the Lemons race, and she's like, "How's that value doing for you?" I'm like, "Yeah, well,
They're racing Boxsters and Lemons now.
yeah,
I wonder how many penalty laps they're getting.
not many. They're
Is
not
it
worth
because
much.
the likelihood of finishing is so low?
Yeah.
It's got to be a 2.7, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, or a 2.5. Mine's a 2.5.
Oh,
mine's a
yeah.
97. I love that dumb thing.
Does it work?
Yeah. Yeah, it runs great, and I'm trying to do a hybrid with it. So
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
A what?
Yeah.
A
I have-
electric hybrid?
I have 3 really dumb projects, but yeah, electric hybrid. Yeah.
Explain.
So if you put like 996 Carrera 4 front suspension, then you have axles.
Yeah.
And you can just bolt a electric motor to it and run front wheel drive electric horsepower.
Just on a button?
Yeah. and you can run it.
Push to
Like-
pass?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
And
alrighty.
okay, hang on.
Well, so I live in the same town as the Teslanda guys.
Oh yeah, so they can help.
Yeah. And I went to their shop.
And how much is the Tesla motor?
Probably more than I would put in there.
What do you get, a volt motor or something?
Well, so one of the guys that worked on Teslanda is working on this idea to basically he's pumping up leaf motors to like 300 horsepower.
Okay.
And he's like, well, the problem's not the motor. The problem is the inverter. So he's custom building inverters for leaf motors so that they don't explode when you run.
So the inverter.
He said if you run a bunch of power through the inverter, it just melts.
What does the inverter do in an electric powertrain?
No idea. I leave that
Right?
to them.
Is it the thing in between the battery and the motor?
And the motor, yeah.
Is an inverter. Okay. All right.
So yeah,
that'll melt. So
it'll
he's
be-
making that so it doesn't melt.
Yeah.
And you'll have a 300 horsepower leaf motor.
I'll
in the
have
front.
more power to the front wheels than I will to the back wheels.
All of a sudden, it's like an instant front wheel drive button. Wait,
Yeah.
so where do the batteries go?
Passenger seat. It's gonna be a track car.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
help you.
Yeah.
Well, Saturday I'm set up to drive an electric 912. My friend has an
Oh,
electric
really?
912, and it's really cool car. It's
You want to do a
super
back
nice
to back
build.
with my 80 horsepower?
I do not.
Where is it? Is the electric? Is where's the weight distributed?
It is distributed on the floor and in the back. It's lithium ion. It's basically a modified Zelectric. What are the guys who do the electric wheels? It's like that. It's 200 horsepower, 200 foot-pounds of torque, retains dog-leg manual. And it's actually called, if you want to look it up, it's called Electro Porsche. If you look up Electro Porsche, my last name, it'll show up. I did something on it a while ago when it was in Vancouver.
Single speed?
Yeah, there it is. That first picture. It is no, it's a 5-speed manual.
So how does that work? No clutch?
There is no regenerative brakes. It's Boxster and Cayman blend. I don't know why it went on the. There you go. Oh right, somebody borrowed my pictures. They had permission. So that's
okay.
it's a pretty beautiful car, right?
It's a lovely car. It's got the steel wheels.
Yep.
Or the steel looking wheels.
They're steel.
Those are steel.
And
So how do you drive a 5-speed manual electric car?
you drive it like you don't use the first. You don't use first because it's got tons more power.
Okay.
So you just use the top 4, and you just cannot stall it.
It just can't. Yeah, because
Yeah,
the
it's
engine
not-
just comes
come
to a stop.
Yeah.
Well, how does the engine behave in between gears?
It has a flat torque curve, and it pulls right up to red.
But
It does have a red line.
Rev like
just-
an engine, a normal engine revs? Like, do you heel toe? What do you do? Or do
No, you don't heel toe because you don't have to. You don't have to match anything, right? Like it's just there's no. I mean, it is just providing motive force. You don't have to. You don't have to worry about. You just don't have to worry about the engine falling out of its power band because the power band is flat, and then you don't have to worry about accidentally stalling it. It has way more power than you feel you need to use, and because it's a 1960s car, this is like a 67. It actually makes quite a lot of noise, which you
like
a
the
Teslas are
Starship
just-
Enterprise? Like,
Yeah. which is dope. Like it really like feels. You're like,
there's pull that picture
cool.
up, Zach. That's interesting.
So it does not look like this anymore. He's just had a bunch of Tesla batteries put into it and had it reworked. It makes considerably more power, or whatever. But the guy has had like 7 or 8 Porsches. He electrified his vest.
Love the gauges. Look at that. How cool is that? That's
Those
very
are all
nice.
custom built.
It's got like the traditional gauges, but then one of them, sort of like they do in the new 911s, is fully digital.
Yeah.
Fucking cool.
So
that's great.
That's an EV West build. I hope to go talk to those guys as well too.
Oh, this is EV West.
Yeah.
Oh, I know them.
Yeah,
Shout out to Michael.
I like that idea of, I feel in the now or in the future, I don't like when I get what purists are doing, but I really love when they are upset, because the along with that Hayabusa powered Caterham, that photo shoot was with a guy with an Integra Type R powered JDM Mini, and he was like, I've had a Skyline, and then I bought this Mini, and I tuned it up, and I wanted to build this project. But he's like, the classic Mini guys really are kind of maybe not offended, but they don't like it. And he's got this little crew of JDM Mini guys, and they like lower them and they backdate them and they do this, that, and the other thing. And it's like it's cool when there's ultimate flexibility about what you do to your car.
Yeah.
Because why not? Like your Lee Keen's, 964 backdated. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And
I think they get mad when you put different engines in them. When it's not I don't give a shit. Let them do it, but
try different things. Like, why not? Like,
no.
Back in the day, like all the cafe racer guys with the motorcycles, they were like Norton frames and Triumph engines, and like people just mixed and matched stuff. My dad put a Alfa Romeo 1750 engine into a Ford Cortina in the 60s.
That's probably kind of fun.
And because it wasn't anything.
Before there was a Lotus Cortina?
Maybe, probably not. But also, like, this was in Belfast in the 60s. So it was just like, I feel like the rules that the purists apply now to make things quote unquote period correct.
Yeah.
They didn't exist.
There was no period.
So like period correct modifications, super cool.
Yeah.
But also it's kind of cool when people do resto mods, and I think all that stuff is just, why not?
I am about it.
And electro resto mods, why not?
Yeah, the Teslanda is. Those guys are very optimistic about the future of electric hot rodding.
He just ripped a 2.4.
What, to 60?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not? Super fun.
Was it running the quarter? Does it go in 8s?
He hasn't done a quarter yet. He's taken it to the quarter. He put drag radials on it and then snapped a lower control arm. So.
Yeah, it seems like it would be eating itself.
Yeah.
But that thing is really cool. That's an 81 Honda with a Tesla drivetrain. Badass, man.
Yeah. My personal motto is nothing is precious. It doesn't matter. Do what you want to do.
Well, I feel it's
all stuff.
I feel like some things are precious and should be preserved if they have particularly great stories behind them. But yeah, like you said, there's no reason that stupid 912 Targa that's for sale on Bring a Trailer should be put on a pedestal and
Yeah, I would put an electric motor in that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, and like as a beach car or whatever, like drive around. If you knew that every time you got into it, it would start up and you don't bother.
Yeah, I drove
anybody
the
on
EV West
sidewalk.
Beetle. That was great. It was by far the best Beetle I've ever driven. It was just like super super fast, and it had regen. It was AC powered, so you could just drive it with the accelerator pedal. You could turn up the regen and it was basically like brake when you just lifted. It was really nice.
So you get all the romance of like that 1960s thing, and you go cruise along, and you're in something that doesn't look boring, and you can see out of it, and then you know that it's gonna. This guy's build was you knew that every time he got in it, it would go. He bought a mod.
What was his range?
About 80 miles.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Not great, but in Vancouver, where everything's kind of like packed in for the kind of driving he was doing, he's like, yeah, I go like drive across a couple of bridges Sunday morning, have my coffee, whatever. I've got other cars.
Yeah.
You could do a daily commute with 80 miles. Most
Most people can, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Good for them. Do we got anything on the super chat? If y'all are out there, what do we got? A couple hundred people on this thing?
Yeah, we did. We had a few.
If y'all want to get in a question, we got to wrap this shindig up in, I don't know, 10, 12 minutes or so. And get up on the super chat on YouTube if you want to ask us about anything that's going on the show. What do we have? Not at all car or guess what? The crazy ex-girlfriend stories. Also, have I been in a fist fight? Mm-hmm. I have not been in a fist fight since I was like 10. And
Right?
I don't think I want to count that one either. I'm not a fighter. Crazy ex-girlfriend stories? There are a few. There's the one who fucked Jaime, the karaoke guy. The karaoke DJ. Yeah, that was a good
karaoke
one.
legend in a town of 1,000 people.
There's that one. There's the one that I arranged the slap. I had to get a restraining order, but I couldn't get a restraining order unless someone hit me in public on video, and so I set it up that she would hit me in public on video.
Nice.
It worked. I didn't need to get the restraining order. She just went away. That's probably the
But she
that's
still
probably
hit
the
you.
best one. I got her to hit me in public on video.
But you didn't need the restraining order.
No,
After
because
hit
she
you,
was
just
she
bounced.
was so embarrassed about what she'd done.
Oh.
Because she did it in a bar, and she got thrown out of the bar in front of like all her friends for doing it too.
Yikes.
I provoked her into doing it, and she did it, and she got thrown out of the bar.
What did you say?
She was like, "If I see you at this party, I'm gonna punch you in the face," and I was like, "That's so convenient. I really need her to punch me in the face."
I bet you won't.
So I got to the bar early and I noted where the cameras were. And when someone told me that she was there, I stood where it was like
Where
a
the cameras
great,
were.
well-lit shot.
Nice.
And I had my hands clearly behind my back the whole time. And I forgot what the exact words were. Whatever I said, she punched me in the face. And I was like, "Who saw that?" Like, it was like one of those. And they threw her out of the bar. I hope that's a good story that was worth that. 80s Scirocco versus 80s GTI in the U.S. for evidence. Have you driven both, Brendan?
GTI, I have not driven a Scirocco, but like collectability wise or what? To drive?
I think in either case, Scirocco wins.
I think
16-valve Scirocco's are boss.
I think Scirocco wins in cool factor either way.
Mm-hmm.
But I have driven both, and except
headroom
for the little bit of
factor-
wheelbase, they're like the same.
Headroom
There's not-
factor's a little bit.
Not a
Camisa
big
has that really nice
worse.
80s one, right?
Yeah.
It's really nice, and it's I think broken all the time. If I'm not mistaken, I think
You did
it's
say Volkswagen.
I did. 80s Volkswagen is broken all the time.
But
I really like the original GTI. The Scirocco, I think the proportions always looked a little odd to me, so I never fell for it. Like the Corrado, I'm a huge fan of. Scirocco, just like the hood was a little too long, and I think there's something about the GTI that's just very like quietly sturdy, I guess.
a buddy
It's,
of
like,
mine in high
playful, but,
school
yeah.
had a Scirocco, so I've always kind of loved them.
That's a
understand that.
Germanic love poem, by the way. I find you quietly sturdy.
You are my
beautiful thing
my
you have ever
greatest
said to me.
love. Yeah, I've never been so attracted to you because you are just quietly strong.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are very, very sturdy, and you have such a nice golf ball shaped shifter.
You never speak out of turn, but I like that. That's so reserved.
What else we got? Steven says, what do you say? How do you all justify driving cars that get bad gas mileage?
What makes sports cars any better than big diesel trucks rolling coal?
Well, there's definitely. Anyone want to take that?
I did. Okay, sure. I've got 2 kids. My daily driver is a mildly modified STI hatchback that gets really bad gas mileage. But I suppose we drive it a little bit less than we would if it was, I don't know, something that we just didn't think about. We've sort of like a pipeline issue going on in BC right now. We're trying to build a pipeline between Alberta and BC, and environmentalists do not want to do that because it's a pipeline, and it may drive our gas prices even higher. So we do get penalized for driving a more expensive car. But maybe you're a little bit more conscious about when you drive it, where you drive it for fun, more than just commute in it and never think about it, and you're driving some crossover that probably gets the same fuel economy. And in terms of better than a big diesel truck rolling coal, I mean, if you're diesel truck is smoking a lot, then you're probably not making as much power as you could be. I remember
That's the Gale Banks theory.
That's the Gale Banks theory. Is that it's what didn't
wasted.
Wasn't there just something Bob wrote for Road and Track today about the new M2 competition getting 400 horsepower because of the emissions testing? I did not read that, but it says something along the lines of like they were able to find more efficiencies in the engine because of emissions testing, and it made more power. So
yeah. I think my answer to this guy's question would be that in my personal life is I don't really drive a lot of cars personally that get horrible gas mileage. I mean, I have a Mercedes SL that gets like 25 miles a gallon and a 4-cylinder Focus RS with a turbo on it that's not that terrible, and I ride a scooter most of the time that gets 80 miles a gallon. Yeah. And my Mustang gets terrible gas mileage, and I drive it about 1,500 miles a year. Yeah. So it's like four or five tanks of gas a year, maybe. So like, I don't know. I'm of the opinion that sports cars typically are very efficient.
Especially today, yeah.
Yeah, modern sports cars are pretty efficient at how they make power. And if you're driving a car, I mean, maybe not like Hellcats and shit, but like if you drive a 911 or a Corvette or, you know, even something like a Mustang or a turbo car, and if you're not like hammered down all the time, like you'll get okay gas mileage.
The 912 is actually my best fuel economy. It gets 33 highway. So
I mean, I drive around 2-seater and 1-seater vehicles. I don't drive around a giant Super Duty by myself.
Right.
So for me, it's
that's
like,
the difference
what's the intent? You know, the intent of driving a performance or a sports car is I'm going out to experience this vehicle, the G-forces it gives me, the acceleration, all that. It's like you're getting a lot of tactile feedback, but the rolling coal thing, the reason they outlaw it is you are literally just trying to blow as much smoke out the exhaust as you can.
It's like you're trolling the environment, but the joke is on you because you have to fucking breathe also.
You did that.
Very good point. You know, it's not like bad gas mileage if you're flooring it in a ZR1 is a consequence of trying to drive fast. But blowing lots of smoke out of the exhaust because you've tuned it to do that, that's all you're trying to do. You know, I think that would be my justification.
Like rolling coal is like a burnout. It's like, well,
I don't really do burnouts.
I think that's a good comparison.
I can't.
I think that went without saying.
I used to. I kind of gave it up.
Remember that you were on the Panamera turbo launch in Victoria, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So there was a protest against the racetrack. We were there like the day before the American launch or day after, or whatever. And
I did not see protesters there.
They were there, and I rolled into the racetrack in the Panamera on electric mode, so it was totally silent and causing no problems, whatever. And they were like, "Rrr." And then and you know, whatever, fine, it's their backyard, and I whatever. But then like right behind us was a lifted, 3500 ramp, and their signs are like, honk if you hate this racetrack. And he honked, and then he just like laid down this smoke screen. And I was like, is there a message being missed here?
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for your question, Steven. I appreciate your opinion, even though you sort of condescendingly wrote that question, like as if the fucking four of us are the problem, whatever.
My WRX channel, actually, he posted his question below his super chat post. He got it wrong. So he said, why won't Subaru update the STI engine?
They eventually were going to get the Ascent engine in it, but I feel like they know that the enthusiast community knows how to make power out of this. They know the problems with it, which are tremendous. I have one of these things. It's really annoying. I'm super irritated that they don't make a WRX hatchback anymore or Crosstrek turbo. But I feel like it's a cost issue because some of the stuff costs quite a bit more in Japan for like whatever the equivalent of the EJ207 would be. And I feel like they're waiting for the Ascent to come out. And then that will be the next, we'll get a turbo Outback, and then we'll get some modified version of that for the STI. And then WRX would get a detuned version. Like I feel like they just ride it out as long as they can because they know that when Perrin gets a hold of it, when a rally team gets a hold of it, they know what's wrong with it. They know how to strip it down. They know how to build it. Yeah.
It's a good answer. Thorough. I just think they can. I think they run it because people are still buying it. But this Type RA thing, that seems like a last hurrah for something anyway, right? It's like a $49,000 STI. Like that's something's last hurrah. At least we can hope. I drove that. Did you drive the RA?
Nope.
It was actually, it's one of those things where a lot of small changes adds up to a car that does actually feel remarkably different.
I have 2 friends who took delivery of them, and both of them are like, long-term Subaru guys. And one guy actually had a S207 in Hong Kong, which is really cool. Really cool build. I think that that is sort of a last hurrah. I feel like it's very possible that the next generation Subaru traditionally screws up the first generation of STI when they do a new one. So like the 08, they had that horrible Impreza GT thing, and they put traction control on it, and it was kind of very sloppy. I feel like they maybe didn't make that mistake with the other one, but there was definitely the cars definitely are like worse, and then they get better. So the next one could be like, I don't know.
It'll be a mess for 2 years, and then it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Fortunately, resale values will stay strong for you. Last one before we get out of here. He gave us a pronunciation this time. Ryukachu. Back again, currently underneath your 540i. I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully,
props for logging in though.
Do we need to call somebody? Are you trapped? I mean, you should really ask more specifically if you'd like help. We have to do a one take on the Zombie 222 EV in Austin. The torque spec will melt your brain. What can you, Zach, figure out?
That's got to be the 510.
What is that?
The 510, the electric 510.
Oh, is it have some?
That sounds like a good thing.
There, what is that? By blood? Does it say Bloodshed Motors?
Oh no, maybe not.
What a great fucking name
right.
for a shop. Bloodshed Motors.
I busted a knuckle today
because it's in a shed and it's bloody. It looks like a '60s Mustang, right?
That looks sweet. What does it say?
60s Mustang electric.
1.79 seconds to 60.
Fuck.
It runs a quarter in 9.89 at 140. It'll run a standing mile at 177.8 miles per hour.
That trap is crazy.
I love
awesome.
177. Oh, do you want to hear? You want one more ZR1 fact? Car and Driver grabbed one and took it to the Texas Mile without asking, and took the wing off and ran right out of the box. Stock car, stock tires with no wing, ran 190 mile an hour standing mile. That Bloodshed Motors. I mean, props to them. What a great name for a shop. I love a name like that.
It's cool to see people having a lot of fun with the EVs because it's like, it seems like a lot of people just see that's where it's headed, and instead of just resisting and going, I'm just going to keep building gas engines. They're like, oh, let's see what we can do with this. Like the guy that brought an EV A86 to Hoonigan, and it was like a drift car, and it's got a handbrake and everything set up in it. And
that could work, right? How long do you think the electric motors would last doing like drift runs?
He said he was doing hot laps with drifting at Laguna Seca, and it was doing fine. I don't know how long.
I wonder how long you could do that for.
But they'll
for
figure
comparison's sake, I drove 12 miles in the canyons fast in a Tesla 90D, and I used a third of the battery. In case you're wondering how fast that goes through the battery.
Yeah, but I mean, a Tesla.
It's very heavy compared to an 86.
Almost 5,000 pounds.
Yeah. That's the only comparison I've got. I'm sorry.
Well, think about this. Like, if you're competing in drifting, you're normally doing like 4 corners, so your runs are super short.
Yeah.
And so it's. I bet you could charge it up and just use the whole battery in one day of runs. You trailer it there. You're not going to drive it there and back.
Yeah, I mean, like how much gas did they fit in those little moon tanks they used to put on Bonneville runs?
Oh,
Like it's just like why not play around with this stuff? And again, it might not necessarily be this is the future of whatever in the immediate, but it can be like here's another. With their Radwood being like, here's a mix of everything, like just everything. Everything car related is kind of cool in some way, even an Aztec with a tent on the back of it.
Yes.
Why not have electric cars that can do crazy quarter miles, burnouts, and classic stuff, and just mix it up?
Completely. I would love to see more electric. We need more infrastructure to make that kind of shit happen around here.
I think electric right now is like the Wild West of original hot rodding. Like the 50s in hot rodding, people were figuring out how to hop shit up. I think electric is there right now.
I wish it wasn't. It's to me the concepts of it are very confusing. Like battery, inverter, motor,
right.
but like the concepts of volts, amps, ohms, watts. Like it mentally doesn't work for me. I don't know.
People will get it.
They will.
It's the same. I mean, it's the same thing that happens every time a new technology comes out. It's like, well, I'll never figure out traction control, and then people break it.
We should get EV West on the show to give us
awesome.
like electric hot rodding for dummies.
That'd be awesome.
All right. Well, I think we have a good show here. Thank you guys for coming. What do you want to plug before we get out of here? Brendan, you plugging anything? Are you in town for a thing other than Luft?
Well, I mean, you can always see anything I'm doing. I have a website, myname.ca.
That's a Brendan, not Brandon.
Yeah, not Brandon.
Bendan
McAleer and Twitter show that's on my Twitter as well. And yeah, I don't know if I have anything particularly cool coming up. There's that I just on Instagram. I just have a S2000 powered Escort Mexico. My neighbor has. She's done Target Newfoundland in.
Lovely.
So gonna have a look at that
sounds awesome.
later on, but.
Very, very cool.
Thanks. No more Liata content for the foreseeable future.
Well, there's always more down the road somewhere. Oh, is that the Escort Mexico?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Pull that picture up.
That's a Dirtfish.
That's boss as hell. I'm going to Dirtfish for a thing in 2 weeks, and I'm not sure.
Have you been?
Yes, several times. It's glorious.
You doing a launch thing?
I'm doing a thing that I should check with the person I'm going with so I don't get in trouble. But it will be for a thing that is for public consumption sooner rather than later. But before I get someone in trouble, mainly myself, I don't say
Best place on earth.
It's fucking great. Yeah. What about you, Brad? What are you up to?
My daily write is for a site called Flat Sixes. It's all Porsche content, so you can check that out. I write for Jalopnik every Sunday, all day, 8 articles.
Fuck.
Yeah.
All day Sunday?
All day Sunday. Wow. But it's great. I mean, I'm getting tons of views, and people are liking the content that I put out there.
Yeah,
so.
I've read a few of your pieces, and they are good.
I saw that you got some striped socks.
Oh, from Stripe. Yeah. Do you know him?
Yeah.
Is he like your homie, or you just know of him?
I knew of him, and now I know him more because I wrote about the article.
Oh, well, let's plug him on the show. He sent me some socks. It's STRIIPE, Stripe Design.
Design.com.
Yeah, and he's got like Porsche Pasha.
I'm wearing the brown Pasha socks right now, yeah.
He's got Porsche Pasha, and he's got like Martini livery. Mm-hmm. He's got Gulf colors. I will say they look really cool. I will say I wish they were a little stretchier.
Yeah, putting them on is a little.
Putting them on, and I got big beast
big
calves from driving sticks so much. But they are very. Oh, there it is.
The
Scroll up.
OEM collection is my favorite.
I love those arrows. The OEM collection. Yeah. It looks like
Motorsport collection is like your Golfs and your Martinis.
But thank you, Stripe Design, for sending me some shit. So Jalopnik, flatsixes.com. You'll be at Luft. What's the next Radwood?
June 24th is Radwood NorCal. It'll be at Oyster Point in South San Francisco. It's
great. June 24th, is that you said? June 24th.
It's a Sunday.
I will probably come.
Awesome.
Because I am now semi-local.
Yeah.
Which is great. What do I have going on? I am going to be at the Jalopnik Amazon party on April 27th. It's actually sold out. Yeah. Apparently they had 400 tickets and got 1,350 requests to go.
Wow.
So come have a drink with me. I will be at the racetrack if you want. I don't do fan meetups, but if you want to come do an activity with me, I would happy to do an activity with you. I will be at Button Willow on May 25th with Speed District. I will be at Willow Springs on June 3rd with Speed District, and I will be at Sonoma Raceway on Tuesday, May 28th with Hooked on Driving, and Mike Musto will be there with me as well. So I got this Lotus Evora for a month coming. So I'm going to do many track days in the Lotus Evora 400.
I should also mention, since you mentioned Mike Musto, I wrote an article on his 928.
Oh, cool. Lovely car.
For Excellence Magazine. So
for Excellence. From Radwood comes fucking Excellence Magazine. I love that. I found in Panama City, Panama at the airport, and Excellence magazine for sale. It was one of like 6 total magazines for sale in the airport.
Wow.
And they wanted $24 for it. It was the one Larry Casilla's car was in. I was about to buy it until they rang it up, and I was like, sorry, Larry.
Oh, and I'm writing Luft for Auto Week.
Oh, great.
So check
Cool.
that out too.
All right. You got many gigs.
I try to
gigs,
diversify.
Mr. Brad. Hell yeah. Get a few of those, and maybe we can add 2 more cylinders to that car you're outside.
I wouldn't want them.
That's a man of principle right there. Brandon, Brad, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Live people, if you've been there, if you're still there, thank you for participating today. All of you who contributed and asked questions in the super chat, thank you. Wait, was there anything else before we get out of here? Did someone just send us money? Thank you, Ian Bennett. You just sent us money. We appreciate it. Okay, we're going to get out of here. Good night, guys. Thank you. This podcast will go up on the hard line very soon. See you at Luftgegalt. I'm out.